gas card. Terms and conditions apply. Visit any GTA retail store today. GTA, we start with you.
Need a truck that works as hard as you do? Then head to Triple J Ford's Big Deals on Big Wheels sales event. For a limited time, score prices below dealer cost and drive home America's best-selling truck for 49 years. The legendary Ford F-150 starting at just $39,995. Choose from the rugged XL, stylish STX, or well-equipped XLT. All backed by the strength, capability, and innovation only Ford delivers. But don't wait. All stock must go. Visit Triple J Ford in Upper Tumon or get pre-approved and shop online at triplejguam.com. Triple J Ford, customers first.
Half a day, I'm Callan Perez and I'm running for senator. Service to our island has shaped my life, from community advocacy and substance abuse recovery to supporting sustainable agriculture. Inspired by my parents, Dr. Perez and Dr. Erickson, I remain committed to serving the people of Guam. I'm Callan Perez and I approve this message.
At Bank of Hawaii, we want to help make the goals you're saving for possible. Great rates are possible because you'll earn up to 5 times the national average on savings when you make a qualifying deposit of $25,000 from another bank. And flexibility is possible because you can access your savings anytime and still earn one of our highest rates.
Anything's possible.
Open a Bank Ohana savings special today and reach your possible. Rates based on the FDIC's national deposit rates. Terms and conditions apply. Visit boh.com/savings special.
With decades experience in Guam and the region, Take Care members have access to the largest offering of free fitness classes and health education programs. Membership also includes the high-quality credentialed network of on- and off-island healthcare providers and the one-stop FHP Health Center and Urgent Care. Ask for Take Care. Call 671-647-3526. Go to takecareasia.com for more information. Take Care. Our island, your health plan.
Explore, snap, and share for a chance to win a round-trip ticket to Taiwan. Join the Guam Photo Hunt and visit iconic landmarks and hidden gems island-wide. The more locations you photograph, the more chances you have to win exciting prizes. Learn more and submit to win online at visitguam.com/photo hunt. Terms and conditions apply. Explore, snap, and rediscover Guam. Brought to you by the Guam Visitors Bureau.
Pat's Tinting and Detailing offers premier services from complete interior cleaning and VIP detailing. And to keep you cool, Pat's also offers factory, ceramic, blacked out, and base-approved auto tinting. For more information, call 647-SLAM.
The views and opinions expressed on this program are those of the show hosts, guests, and callers, and do not necessarily reflect the views of the staff or management of Wave 105.1 FM, Glimpses Media, or our partners. We strive to provide quality, respectful, and engaging content, and we welcome you to participate in the conversation. Thank you for tuning in to Wave 105.1 FM. Enjoy the show.
5 minutes into the hour of 2 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in here on Wave 105. This is the BrightSide. My name is Ryan Nicholas, and Monday through Friday, I have the pleasure to introduce this gentleman right here, the host of the show, Mr. Pauly. Suba, buenas.
We do want to thank our sponsors, and that's Chili's Grill and Bar. Chili's, more life, great food, and memories happen here. Micro Pack. Don't miss a memory. Get your travel cameras and storage essentials at Micro Pack today. Subway, you got to refresh to be fresh. Triple J. It's big deals on big wheels at Triple J Ford. Save thousands off retail and drive home a new Ford F-150 starting at just $39,995. Visit Triple J Ford today. Customers first. And GTA, we start with you. Welcome to it, another bright side here on Wave 105. Biba Mates.
Biba.
Tuesday, August 4th. It's wet out there, right? So definitely be careful.
Yeah, it sucks.
Right? We do have a wind advisory. West winds 20 to 30 miles per hour with gusts up to 35 miles per hour expected. This is until 6 a.m. tomorrow. Gusty winds will blow around unsecured objects. Tree limbs could be blown down, and a few power outages may result. Again, this is from the National Weather Service, right? They're just letting you know what could happen with the winds, right? Westerly monsoon surge will bring windy conditions the next few days. Winds this strong can make driving difficult, especially for high-profile vehicles. Use extra caution when driving on roads with no center barriers, as well as when passing these high-profile vehicles. They're talking about the eight-wheelers. Secure loose objects outdoors, as well as canopies. These winds may move light objects. There is also, from the National Weather Service, a high surf advisory. And so you've got large breaking waves of 8 to 10 feet and dangerous rip currents expected in the surf zone. For the high surf advisory along west and north facing reefs of the Marianas, for the high rip current risk, it's along west, north, and east facing reefs. This is until 4 p.m. Saturday. Dangerous swimming and surfing conditions and localized beach erosion can occur. Rip currents can sweep even the best swimmers away from shore into deeper water. And so it's Typhoon Dolphin that is causing the weather conditions today and throughout the rest of the week. As Dolphin continues to move toward Iwoto, the long period swell direction is expected to shift to the northwest around midweek. And so remember, if caught in a rip current, relax and float. Don't swim against the current. If able, swim in a direction following the shoreline. If unable to escape, face the shore and call or wave for help. And so when you look at the forecast for the rest of this week, 95% chance of rain. Tomorrow, Thursday, 95% chance of rain. Friday, 90% chance of rain. Things kind of get a little bit better, but it's still in the 80s for Saturday and Sunday. So there's your weather update that I was able to gather before we started the show from the National Weather Service. Now, the legislature's back in session, special session, to contemplate how much money, or if at all, they will provide funding to public health to continue to facilitate the Child Care Development Fund. And so I believe when Speaker Frank Bloss Jr., he started the session again when they resumed this morning. There was a long break. They were waiting for Public Health Director Teresa Arreola. And then at some point they needed to get some numbers because Speaker Frank was questioning some of the numbers. And so they broke again for, I don't know, another hour or so. It felt longer than that. And so they should be back in. I did not look to see if they went live again, but they recessed until 2 p.m. for lunch. So Speaker, he asks how much federal funding Guam expects next year. And so Public Health says they expect about $22 million, roughly the same as this year. And so he pointed out a couple things. He says the CCDF needs about $29.2 million this year. But if the federal government only provides $22 million, then there's a $7 million shortfall. So even after doing his own calculations, he believes $3 million to $6 million in expenses still weren't clearly explained. So that's when Public Health responds that the $29.2 million breakdown is there's $25.6 million for child care subsidies paid to families and providers, $3.4 million or close to $3.5 million for employee salaries, program operations, and staff training. Together, those equal to $29.17 million needed to operate the program for 1 year. And so Speaker wasn't convinced quite yet, right? Because he did his own calculation of 2,700 children, a maximum subsidy of $700 per month over 12 months. And so his math comes out to about $22.6 million, not $25.6. And he asked why there was nearly a $3 million difference. And so Public Health says they were still using leftover COVID-era funding policies. They paid 100% of whatever child care providers charged, even if it was much higher than today's cap. Some providers charged thousands of dollars per child, and they also paid providers based on full enrollment, even if children attended part-time. And so in the beginning of January, Guam changed its policy. The maximum subsidy was capped at $700 per child. This was done because Public Health realized federal funding was slowing down. And so Speaker asks whether officials knew this would happen. So Public Health responds by saying they knew funding could become a problem. However, the federal government does not tell Guam at the beginning of the year exactly how much funding it will receive. Funding then arrives in pieces throughout the year, making planning difficult. This is something that Teresa Areola had said before they recessed for the weekend. Once they saw funding slowing down, that's when they reduced payments and knew they would eventually have to ask the legislature for additional money. And so Director Areola was saying, eventually I would have to come to you. At some point, I was going to need to come. And when did we find out that there was? So you have to go back to November. You have to go back to November when there were meetings from the child care development centers asking for more guidance, asking for an explanation why there are these delays in the paychecks that are, or not the paychecks, the CCDF funding. So that they can pay their employees and pay for their bills. And so this was ongoing. There were delays in November and then delays again in January, then delays again in March. And so it's the noise started to get louder and louder. I thought things were starting to calm down when I saw the governor put out a release last month saying that she has appropriated or she has moved about $5 million. Right? But there's still some confusion as to whether or not that happened, because even Public Health explained, well, they still had to complete paperwork for them to get that. So when you hear what they were talking about this morning, there was more clarity. The total cost to operate the program this year is about $29.2 million. So $25.6 for child care subsidy payments to providers, and then $3.49 for salaries, administration, and training. And so they're not asking the legislature for $29 million. They're only asking for $7.6 million. And so that $7.6 million is only to cover the unpaid child care subsidies that, when you break it down, it's $1.2 million for unpaid June invoices and $2.14 million for July, $2.14 million for August, and $2.14 million for September. And that is a $7.6 million, only till September. And so the question now is, will that $7.6 million be appropriated? It's sounding more like this is going to happen. When you listen to Speaker, when you listen to Senator Chris Barnett. Now, what do they do moving forward? If we continue to get the same responses from the federal government, because remember, this is a federal program. And so if we still get those same responses or late responses that Teresa Areola is getting, has been getting, then we're going to have to figure out, how do we want to appropriate this money? Do we want to appropriate the $29 million up front and then wait for that $22 million to come back from the federal government? Because you ain't going to get reimbursed 29 unless Congress steps in. And that's something that they talked about too. Later down in the conversation, it was Speaker Therese Terlai that was asking, how do we get more money from the federal government? Understanding that we're seeing a number of children in the program. And Director Teresa Arreola responded saying, well, there is no waiting list currently, so it can be difficult. But there were so many people, again, I remember the administration was campaigning, or one of their initiatives, one of the governor's priorities is, I want to put more people on the rolls, more families on the rolls, to be accepted into the child care program. And they use federal money for that. The CARES Act, there's there's an abbreviation, but it's so long. CRRSA, I had to write it down. Coronavirus Response and Relief Supplemental Appropriations Act of 2021. So they took these federal monies, and so the priority was to allow more families to qualify. And so how did you qualify? You just had to have children that met the age limit to go to childcare, and you applied. And you got in because we were in a health emergency. And then they extended the health emergency because of malware. And so you're a frontliner, your job's important. And so you qualified. However, things started to slow down, and they acknowledged we are no longer in a health crisis, health emergency, and they were providing the information to us. We were having conversations because callers were calling in saying, I no longer qualify. What's going on? Why? And it's like, because you aren't part of you aren't a single parent. You're not homeless. You are above the poverty line. They gave, I got to pull it up.
And I think that, not to sound insensitive, okay, because prior to COVID, they had no child care, right? You really had to, pay it out of your own pocket. And so
they
had programs,
yes,
but
it
not
was
to
for
the
low-income working parents,
Yeah.
single parents, parents attending school, foster families, and homeless families.
Okay, and
so if you were in that category,
if you were in that bracket,
you qualified.
Right. But now, and then when COVID hit, it was like almost funded 100%. Well, COVID is no longer here, and I think people kind of got used to it. I mean, safe to say they probably even got spoiled by it. And so the thing is, the proverbial phrase with the federal government, the check's in the mail. We just don't know when it's coming. Right?
Well,
and
so that's where we decide, right? Because people like Senator Chris Barnett, and I almost willing to say that Senator Therese is saying, I think we should up the ante, whether or not the federal government pays this.
Well,
they're considering at this point subsidizing the on top of through government taxes, through local taxes.
Okay.
And President Trump has said it too, right? He goes, the state needs to pay for this. The federal government, there's so many programs. And so he's not budging. At least President Trump is not budging. So as long as he's president, I don't think you're going to get any more than the $22 million.
I'm going to have to
So then we'll have to decide.
I'm going to have to disagree with Senator Therese and everything because when it comes down to it, it's the funding source. Where are you going to take it? And if you're
the general fund,
if you're going to put more taxes on what we are currently paying for, I mean, yes, granted, I am there for taking care of the kids, and that's fine and everything. But you have to understand, It's like, and I've used this analogy before, when you go up to your parents, and you say, Mom, Dad, I want this and everything, and it costs $10, and your mom and dad only have 5, they normally tell you, you're going to have to hold on. All right. Or they flat out tell you, we can't afford it. You have to live within your means, but, to say we're going to tax more and up the ante with this and subsidize it so we can take care of it. I mean,
well, we might not have to tax more if there's excess revenue coming in, but we'll have to subsidize. We're definitely going to have to subsidize every year at this point.
Yeah.
7.6 million. And then we also have to now contemplate, do we want more children in the program? And if you want more children in the program,
you're going to have to up the ante.
Then you will have to subsidize even more. But it's pretty clear moving forward, as long as President Trump is president, we will have to pull together $7.6 million every year to make sure that the current families and the current children stay in this program.
I mean, and then again, the representative for D.C. factor comes in, like, okay, this should be one of those big topics right now that we currently ask, and debates, all these people, organizations and everything, when you have these debates, this should be one of the issues brought up, one of the questions asked. Where are you and how are you going to bring in more funding? Where are you at with the child care, and how much more funding can you secure in D.C., knowing that Guam can't afford this? And this was a federal program that was started where we funded them during the COVID days at 100%. And so I think Attorney Alicia and Congressman James, this is going to be something that you really need to look into, because we can't afford it, Pauly. There's a lot of things we can't afford it. You're talking about surplus, and if we do have the surplus, we don't have it anymore. The surplus was created from the BPT. And we were receiving like $80-70 million every year. I mean, that's what the administration has always touted. We collected, 70 million, 80 million in surplus and everything. We got the money. Well, we don't have that luxury now. And right after October, we're not going to have it anymore. It's going to 4%. So there's the net loss of what, 40 million, right? That's what they're saying, roundabout. So again, if we can't afford it, we may have to just do away with it. And as insensitive as it sounds, to the parents out there that are on the programs, man, it's just we can't afford it. And that's a sad
Can't
case.
afford to put more, or can't afford the current status?
Can't afford the current, and can't afford to put more, because when you think about it,
I don't think any senators are saying that they're not going to approve this.
Well, it's election year.
Yeah.
So
I think they are very seriously considering
funding it,
this appropriating 7.6.
I would like to see where
for
they're going to get
fiscal year 2027 and
2028.
Moving forward.
Yeah, I would like
moving forward.
I would like to see. I mean, because this is going to be.
Speaker Frank said that we still need to also address the airport.
Yeah, exactly.
And the possibility of $20+ million to go to them. And that's a real bailout, because the operations are not meeting their quota to pay for operations.
Yep. And then you got to look at what's going on with GVB. You already had Senator Jess saying, I don't think we have the money they're asking for.
Yeah, I don't know. No senator right now.
Yeah, he's going to touch that with a 10-foot pole.
Yeah. I haven't heard a single senator bring up seat incentives for months now.
Yeah,
yeah.
I mean, the $10 million that they gave to GVB could have went to this, but you see now. So you have all these key agencies now. Remember, we know that GVB's importance is to bring tourists. That's where our money comes from, aside from the military buildup and whatnot, and the taxpayer base. It's a three-prong, it's a three-head approach, right? We got our tax base, we got we got the military built up and we got tourism. Now one of them is failing, right? And it's all based on now. And then what fails after that is the tax base, because people are no longer buying. They're paying too much taxes. There's no money being circulated within the community because everybody's penny pinching now.
Here's why I think that we can afford it, because families can go to work. They pay more taxes.
But see that, and if both parents are working, you know, that whole you don't meet or you don't fall between the poverty line, that should, I mean, the prereqs should change, right?
Yeah.
If the parents are both working, give it to them.
Yeah.
You know, even if they have to pay 30% and the government of Guam and the federal government takes care of the 70%. You know, there's ways to skin this cat. But again, you know, because, you know, like for instance,
I think it can help because it allows families to go to work,
and the tax base, you know, gets much. It increases to the point where now there's a new person that we can tax. If you and your wife, if one of you guys were a stay-at-home parent, and one of you guys is like just the breadwinner pretty much, you know, to have your wife go out and work, you know, adds on to the tax base, which of course, and it's good. I mean, I'm kind of down for that idea, right? But I mean, look at the SNAP program where they had to make changes that, look, you're going to have to put in where you get in, right? And, you know, you have to do your 40 hours, you know, a week.
Yeah, 20 a week.
Yeah, so I mean, and in that time while you're there at the mayor's office, you're learning a trade. Right. You know, you're learning how to
you're giving back to the community.
And you're giving back to the community, and then whatever skills you have, you can take out to the workforce because you are experienced now. Because I mean, there's so many ways to skin this cat, but just for the government to just flat out and say we're going to give the money and we're going to cover it. Again, that's kind of like, man, you know, I mean, look at all the agencies that are crying out for money. And you have DPW saying, we can take the whole thing to fix the shoreline. Okay. Now, you know, now it comes down to, you know, you're pitting a lot of these agencies against one another because everybody's crying out for my stuff is more important now. You know, okay, well, you know, if we get hit with another typhoon, all the water is going to come in. I'm important, yeah, but you know we need to bring our people. You know, we need to bring our tourists and our people. You know, in a nice airport and make sure everything is good to go. You know, I need it. And the GVB is like, well, we can't, you know, promote Guam because you know we have no money. I need it. So everybody's crying, and then of course, you already know GMH is going to jump in the mix, and then DOE. You know, everybody needs the money. So
Vice Speaker's got a bill to refurbish GMH, the current hospital.
Really?
Yeah, I was just looking into it.
Okay, is there a price tag behind this?
You want to look into it now? Let me pull it up.
Or you know, I'll tell you what, I'll give you some time to look for it, and we'll go to break. How's about that?
Okay, yeah, cool.
All right. It's 2:30 in the afternoon. You're listening to Wave 105. This is the BrightSide, and we'll be back right after this.
Ever dreamed of being on the radio? Now's your chance. Glimpses of Guam is looking for the next generation of on-air personalities to join our family on Wave 105. If you've got personality, creativity, and a passion for entertaining, we want to hear from you. No matter your experience level, this could be your opportunity to be heard across the airwaves. Send your resume and a short demo to jobs@glimpsesofguam.com and start your broadcasting journey today. Join the Glimpses of Guam radio team. Your voice belongs on the air on Wave 105.
Need a truck that works as hard as you do? Then head to Triple J Ford's Big Deals on Big Wheels sales event. For a limited time, score prices below dealer cost and drive home America's best-selling truck for 49 years. The legendary Ford F-150 starting at just $39,995. Choose from the rugged XL, stylish STX, or well-equipped XLT. All backed by the strength, capability, and innovation only Ford delivers. But don't wait. All stock must go. Visit Triple J Ford in Upper Tumon or get pre-approved and shop online at triplejguam.com. Triple J Ford, customers first.
as Guam recovers from Super Typhoon Bavi. GTA is here to help you stay connected and keep you moving. For a limited time, get $400 off any new premium smartphone with eligible plans. Or bring your own phone to GTA and receive up to $300 in account credits. To support your recovery, you'll also receive a free $100 76 fuel gas card. Terms and conditions apply. Visit any GTA retail store today. GTA, we start with you.
Calling all seniors, there's nothing like Silver Savings Tuesday at Agana Shopping Center. If you're 55 and better, Tuesdays are made just for you. All senior citizens can now enjoy special discounts and deals every Tuesday at Vitamin World, SM Island, Miniso, Capricciosa, Taco Bell, Robbins Planters, Cinnabon, Subway, and of course, Ross Dress for Less. Great food, smart savings, and island favorites all in one place and all for seniors. Silver Savings Tuesdays only at Agana Shopping Center.
Explore, snap, and share for a chance to win a round-trip ticket to Taiwan. Join the Guam photo hunt and visit iconic landmarks and hidden gems island-wide. The more locations you photograph, the more chances you have to win exciting prizes. Learn more and submit to win online at visitguam.com/photo hunt. Terms and conditions apply. Explore, snap, and rediscover Guam. Brought to you by the Guam Visitors Bureau.
Hafiday Guam! The Guam Hotel and Restaurant Association invites you to the Fair Trade Show, Guam's premier hospitality and food service event. Join us August 19th and 20th at the Hyatt Regency Guam from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Experience hands-on training sessions and exciting culinary competitions featuring professionals, apprentices, and pastry talent. Discover new products, connect with suppliers, and celebrate Guam's hospitality industry. Don't miss Fair 2026. Visit ghra.org for details.
Half a day, I'm Callan Perez and I'm running for senator. Service to our island has shaped my life, from community advocacy and substance abuse recovery to supporting sustainable agriculture. Inspired by my parents, Dr. Perez and Dr. Erickson, I remain committed to serving the people of Guam. I'm Callan Perez and I approve this message.
Ever dreamed of being on the radio? Now's your chance. Glimpses of Guam is looking for the next generation of on-air personalities to join our family on Wave 105. If you've got personality, creativity, and a passion for entertaining, we want to hear from you. No matter your experience level, this could be your opportunity to be heard across the airwaves. Send your resume and a short demo to jobs@glimpsesofguam.com and start your broadcasting journey today. Join the Glimpses of Guam radio team. Your voice belongs on the air on Wave 105.
2:35 in the afternoon. You know, I'm just listening to that spot about radio personalities, and I remember, Pauly, when I first filled out my application back in 1997. I think I'm going to apply. Personality? Do I have that? No, but I encourage everybody, if you feel like you have what it takes to be on the radio, just fill out the application, go to the website, and who knows, man? You might be right next to me. I'll probably be the one to train you. But it's good. I've always liked breaking in the new news. So that would be great. It's all I can say is, if you're interested in radio, all you young bucks, it's fun, it's good, and it's a learning experience. And all I can say is that what happened in the job yesterday is very different. That what's happening now is very different. It's one of those jobs that it's not repetitive.
Yeah,
it's always moving.
There's always something to talk about.
Yeah, and likewise, we're doing regular radio. The person that called you yesterday, there's going to be a different person to call you and ask you for a song. So it's interesting. I'm like, man, 97. That was like 30 years ago. Next year,
it sure is.
Whew, I'm that old. Anyway, so we're talking about Vice Speaker's bill.
Bill 342.
Okay, what is the price tag? That's all I want to know.
I can't find one.
Okay.
The bill would create a special fund.
Yes.
Dedicated to repairing and upgrading the current hospital.
Okay.
Instead of using a tax amnesty money for day-to-day expenses, the money would be set aside only for major construction and infrastructure improvements at GMH. And so Vice Speaker says GMH is Guam's only public civilian hospital and is critical during emergencies and disasters. The hospital's building and infrastructure has aged after years of deferred maintenance. A new hospital is still years away, so the current hospital must remain safe and operational. One-time tax amnesty money should be invested in long-term improvements rather than spent on ongoing operating costs. And so the funding would come from the Guam Tax Amnesty Program that was created under Public Law 38-115.
Okay, this term.
Yeah, people who owe certain back taxes can pay them under the Tax Amnesty Program, and the bill would direct most of that money into the new GMH Capital Preservation Fund.
Does anybody know currently what the outstanding balance for unpaid taxes?
I have to go back to the DRT's hearing. I forget if it was their oversight hearing. I think it was the oversight hearing. It was the oversight hearing. I have to go back to that part because remember there was the oversight hearing because of the software
that
they
couldn't collect
basically
property
hijacked
tax?
all. Yes,
Yeah, okay.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So they started talking about these delinquent taxes, and they are issuing a tax amnesty program. All the people that haven't paid their taxes,
And some
in
of them
forever.
are off island.
It was in the millions.
Yeah, they couldn't even find these people anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
And so if you come in now, you won't that interest won't follow you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. And so also the bill excludes. So people who owe certain back taxes can pay them under the tax amnesty program. And the bill would direct most of that money into the new GMH Capital Preservation Preservation Fund. This is the part where I need to understand more. Either go back to that public hearing or speak to somebody, speak to Vice Speaker, or speak to somebody over at DRT.
Yeah.
Because the bill does exclude income tax and real property tax. So
from being used for this
delinquent income taxes and delinquent real property taxes. So those revenues would not go into the new fund. The money that does go into, because I want to know, okay, so if you're taking away those, what other delinquent taxes are out there? Corporate taxes?
It could be. I
right?
mean, yeah, corporate taxes. I mean, if you did business and you didn't pay your tax and you shut down. Now, we have to consider, right, there are a lot of businesses that shut down during COVID, that probably are still in debt with paying taxes here in Guam. And they probably left the island, so we don't know. I mean, if there's any effort to try to, to bring in these taxes from people that are probably no longer here. I mean, it's something that's going to follow, but, guys, I lost my business. I lost everything. You guys can, I may be like in the red for $100,000 and, guess what? I'm working at Safeway back there, trying to make ends meet and trying to live.
Right.
So how do you tax somebody that can't be taxed or has no resources to be taxed? See, and that's the thing. So, but I see the concept, and I'm kind of glad that somebody's doing it because, how it works in the legislature. It's not part of the standing rules, Pauly, but it's the rule of thumb that if you introduce a bill, find the funding source.
Find the funding source.
And that's what Vice Speaker did. I mean, to actually, we need to go in and see how the mechanisms are with the funding source, but it's a really good idea, and I'm hoping that should he be successful and go into Adelup, he already has a funding source to address the concerns of GMH. So it's almost like this is smart, man. Sorry. I mean, it's the campaign mode in me.
I don't think it's enough, though.
Yeah, it's not.
To be honest.
Well, it's a start, right? So like,
it's a crawl.
Yeah. I mean, it's so, like, for instance, all the repairs, all the spackling and everything with the cement coming out, these can be addressed. Right?
Okay, so money could only be spent on major capital projects such as repairing hospital buildings, replacing electrical plumbing and utility systems, modernizing aging infrastructure,
Okay.
upgrading fire safety and life safety systems, engineering and design work, construction and renovation projects. That sounds like in the millions.
Yeah.
In the millions, right?
But, the beauty of it is that he specifies what this money is going to go to, because when you look at the other issues that GMH is having with vendor payments and all that, that is not included in this, which is good. I kind of like that idea.
Yeah, so the fund cannot pay for everyday operating expenses like employee salaries, benefits, medicine and pharmaceuticals, medical supplies, administrative costs, routine maintenance, or paying old bills or debts.
Good call.
This
Vice
is
Speaker.
only for capital projects at GMH. And so in the bill, it says why it decides who can spend the money. GMH Board of Trustees would approve which projects will receive the funding. The board would be expected to prioritize projects that improve patient safety, keep the hospital operating, meet accreditation requirements, maintain critical life safety systems, extend the hospital's useful life until a replacement hospital is built. And so the money will not expire. The fund would be non-lapsing, meaning any unused monies will stay in the account until it is spent on approved projects.
Nice.
The GMH administrator would have to submit quarterly reports to the legislature
on the use,
showing how much money was deposited, which projects were approved, how the money was spent, project progress, and expected completion timelines. And so if the bill becomes law, GMH would have a dedicated source of money for major repairs and upgrades. The funding could help keep the current hospital safe and functional while Guam works toward building a new hospital. The tax amnesty revenues would be invested in the improvements rather than the everyday operation expenses. And so I have a question too, because I like it, but I just don't think that it's going to give you enough money to complete some projects unless you include the delinquent income taxes and the property taxes.
And I think that's what it is, right? I mean, the funding source is already indicated, but this whole bill is based on the premise that the collections can happen and there's money flowing into the account from all the delinquent late taxpayers, right?
And then the board will decide which projects to tackle.
Yeah. And so I like it, but I'm still up in the air in terms of funding source, because, like I said, it's based on whether or not they get paid. I mean, the GovGuam gets paid.
Well, what I'm also worried about is look, we are doing this, but I'm glad that Vice Speaker, if this becomes law, would ask for those quarterly reports. And whoever has oversight over the hospital should share that with the public and clearly just say, hey, the legislature has decided in the past legislatures that we need a new hospital. And so we can't delay on that. And so if you're only going to do patchwork right here and there on the current hospital that we know is falling apart, you're not really solving the problem.
You're not. I mean, you could put a Band-Aid and as much Band-Aid as you want.
It's just Band-Aids.
Put that lipstick on the pig and it's still a pig. I mean, so again, this is a start in the right direction, at least because we already know, and it's already been said in the start of this bill, that the new hospital is years away. But we can definitely improve in what we have.
Yeah.
And so, see, that, and that's the thing about it, right, is that doing this, right, and then finding a new funding source for a new hospital, because according, we just broke ground.
Correct.
And
you are doing something in the meantime and just not sitting around and
and let it riddle away and build on the hopes and dreams of hospitals. So I like the idea that the board and your idea about being upfront and transparent with the money where the money's going to go. So, like, if they need a new baby ward, it's going to go there to handle the mold problem.
The board will decide.
The board would decide, and they have to make that information.
It's not my idea. It's in that bill. It's in his bill.
Okay, all right, okay. Well, kudos to Vice Speaker, right? And I like the idea, because if this thing does become law, and if he goes on to be successful in this election to become the next governor of Guam, he's going to see this through. And he's going to put the right people, probably renew the board.
Well, we'll see, because, it can go either way, right? It's looking like a Democrat majority again.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's scary, but
it's looking like that. And then it's Eddie Calvo all over again, putting the hearse in front of the legislature.
Stop. Because I was there. And I was there with Speaker BJ Cruz. And
very much could.
Yeah.
What we could be seeing in January is a Republican governor and a Democrat majority.
No, you're right.
And it could go 9-6 either way.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm probably not gonna say. I think 10-5 is reaching either way.
Yeah.
But I think 9-6 either way is very much a possibility. It could go 9-6 Republican. It could go 9-6 Democrat.
I was there.
It could go 8-7 either way too.
I was there when the legislature actually broke history pretty much, and that was 1, the supermajority, and 2, women empowerment, where there were like a lot of women senators, on their male counterparts. So that was they broke the ceiling pretty much. They broke the glass ceiling on that, and normally history would tell you if there's a Republican governor, it's going to be, a Democrat majority. Sometimes it could be, but rarely, right? Because I know that Joe Atta had to face the same thing when he was governor. It was Democrat majority. And I believe the majority with the legislature being under a Republican banner only happened, few and far between, but it was mainly Democrat majority. And so this could be interesting, because now here's the thing. Well, the senators, they normally, hop on the backs of, whoever the winner is as far as the gubernatorial teams are coming out. So the Democrats and both the Republicans, they need to sing in the same voice, and they need to really stand out and, make their message clear, loud and clear, so that people can say, I can go with a Democrat, because when you look at it, right, Governor Liu had a Democrat majority. Governor Liu also had a Democrat in Congress. And at that time, miracles should have been falling down the sky. Democrat unity, Democrat party, all across the board, but it was total opposite. And so now, if we see that now, right, on both sides, if it's a Democrat Adelup, Democrat Congress, and Democrat majority down to the legislature, I'm praying that I don't see that again. And likewise with the Republicans, right? I think back then, everybody had the notion, everybody just didn't stay in their lane, right? They wanted to flex, their positioning, right? You had the governor wanting to bring everybody in when she brought, Congressman Mike, and he walked in and he's like, Governor, you called this meeting, da-da-da-da-da. If you have nothing to say, da-da-da, I'm going to leave. And that's what happened, right? And so now you had Democrats among each other fighting, right? It all started when Mike Nicholas didn't sign the unity pledge. And that's fine. Hey, right. I respect him for that, because he just didn't want to pull the party line because there was a lot of disagreements.
I've also heard the other side, though, that, he didn't come. He had his own agenda. And so, I'm not privy to those conversations. I was not in the room when it happened, but I've heard the other side where the administration is like, Mike had his own agenda, and it did not align with the administration.
Yeah, and I think everyone, they drew the line in the sand like, hey, dude, hold on for a second. I'm the governor of Guam.
Well, and if you look at the ARPA money, every governor had oversight. Not the legislature, not state legislatures, not state council members. not the congressmen, not the senators of the states who had authority over the ARPA money.
Yeah.
It was the governor.
Yes.
So
and Mike's
these
job-
monies were
yeah.
coming to Guam and to every U.S.
Yeah.
territory and every state with or without anybody's assistance.
Yeah.
However, I will give Congressman St. Nicholas the credit because he's the congressman. Not going to take away that. But you cannot say that these monies are for Guam and then have some kind of authority over it or state that when it's clear that the governor has the authority.
Yeah.
And that's where the power plays were coming from, because the legislature is like, well, according to local law, you have to seek our approval.
Yeah,
According to local law, the AG also has to be in the room too.
Yeah, to sign off.
But
on it.
not for ARPA money.
Yeah. No, and Governor, I believe Governor, they actually won that case, in district court, but
nobody really won because we don't have a hospital.
Exactly.
We're all losers.
Man, we had $2 billion.
Nobody really won.
We had $2 billion, and all we
It's
had
so
was
sad.
just bickering and everything. And so you look at it, man, and
It's
and
so
so
sad.
I'm just hoping that whoever takes the majority, whoever takes out of loop, man. I mean, maybe, and that's the reason why the low voter turnout, right? Like people just don't want to deal with it. I mean, they saw everything how it had played, right? And it pit family members and friends against one another. And man, if I had to count how many friends I lost because I was like, Biba, right? Whoever candidate. Oh yeah, no, we don't like that person. Da, 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 da. But back to your point, right? When it was COVID time, right? There was no unemployment insurance. And when I would actually looked at the research, right, unemployment insurance, it was talked about, but in the 80s, right? And so I called my brother, because when this whole COVID shutdown was happening and everything, I'm like, how are you guys not going to work and not getting paid? Oh, we have unemployment insurance. Yeah, we pay into it and everything. I'm like, oh, really? I'm like, I looked at, I'm like, man, we don't have that. How are they going to disperse it? So, Senator Talina at the time, right? She was in session. I'm like, hey, Senator, because she was my senator, right? I'm like, come on, let's talk for a minute. So we went outside and we talked. I'm like, you need to think about unemployment insurance. And it was all new to her, right? And like, what is, I mean, she knew the concept, but she was like, what are you talking about? I'm like, look, we haven't shut down yet. Right. But if you look at the trend all around the world, everybody's shutting down, everybody's staying home and everything. And so now people are going to get worried. How are they going to, fend for themselves and whatnot? Right. They're not making their hours and whatnot. But there was no mechanism. And so to credit
Dave De La Sola.
Yeah. Well, him, but also to credit Mike St. Nicholas, because the thing is, Guam was probably not going to get unemployment insurance because there was no mechanism in place, right? So, Congressman Mike St. Nicholas had to go in and say, hey, look, and so we don't have unemployment insurance. So there was a mechanism to go through Department of Labor, via Mike St. Nicholas to David DeSola. And
then they had to go and facilitate the program
but
using a third-party source too.
But prior to that, I remember, it got Senator Talina Nelson's, ear, like, what, you're right, we have to do something.
Okay.
And so we were doing the research, and, I was like, okay, let's look at other jurisdictions, and, just for safety and to make it palatable to, the other senators, we went to the most liberal states and everything, New York, Hawaii, how they're doing their, how they're doing their unemployment insurance, right?
Yeah.
And so we're doing this. And that question during this whole thing, I mean, everything was going down, right? Somebody asked Lieutenant Governor Josh, how are you going to get money out, to people that are going to be, not working anymore? And he said, well, Senator Talina Nelson has a bill right now in regards to unemployment insurance. When that comes to my desk, this administration is going to look heavily into it. And I was like, gosh, did I think of something? Like, because again, it just started from a question that I had asked my brother, and then, we had the little conversation, and she went in. But because Senator Mike, saw that too as well, he saw, he needed to do something. And this wasn't just Guam, it was other territories too as well that didn't have unemployment insurance. And so to his credit, thanks to Mike St. Nicholas and working with David El Sola to get the, public.
They stood that up.
They stood it up and everything, and so which was good. But at which kind of like it didn't have the need for her bill and everything because everything was working out in itself. But you need senators and you need staffers to think just like that.
And it's not to say that the administration didn't work with senators. I mean, I think you just have to, I guess you just have to show up in good faith. And again, I'm not privy to what was happening behind closed doors, but there are other narratives, not just one, coming from Congressman Mike St. Nicholas. There are other sources saying otherwise. Now, another example where the administration helped. Now, obviously, it was Regine Bisco-Lee, who's a Democrat that works well with the administration. She was advocating for money, like what is it? It's not necessarily is it a rebate? It was money that came from, and I remember the governor at the time was hesitant because obviously she was trying to put a good amount of money aside for a new hospital. And we kept chipping away at that money. And that's why, there are some leaders that are like, what do we have? What, 100 million? Well, if it wasn't for all of the challenges and the obstacles and the barriers in the beginning, we would have had way more than 104 million. And now we don't even have that because we took too long. We were fighting each other. And that's why I say we're losers. We're all losers because there was more than that.
Because
there was at one point there was 300 million. At one point there was close to $1 billion. But there was always another priority. There was always something else. So I would say that the governor has been very proactive and very willing to work with the legislature. And
even if she didn't agree with
because
these power tax credits,
those monies,
I know she was totally against that, but she realized that the relief was there and it was needed. So she's like, okay,
there was a relief. There was a money that was going to a number of households, right? A little over $1,000, and you had to file it. I remember people were going to the mayor's office because you had to prove that you are a resident of Guam, and how did you prove that? You just proved you got the mayor's verification, right? So I remember when that was happening, there was some hesitancy. However, that was again the compromise. So I mean, the governor this whole time through the last 8 years, there are many examples of compromising, even though she had other plans to begin with. We'll take the break.
Yes.
3:01 in the afternoon, KGUM FM in Dededo, Guam. Here comes your AP News update.
AP News, I'm Mike Kempen. Firefighters are battling wildfires in Washington state in areas some people are comparing to a war zone.
In eastern Washington, where wildfires are raging, some residents are returning to pure devastation, their homes leveled. Major General Gent Walsh heads the Washington National Guard.
I can tell you today that that's a war zone.
As of Monday afternoon, at least 600 homes, businesses, and other structures were destroyed. Many are still under evacuation orders.
Some of these folks may not recover. Some of those folks may not rebuild in there.
Yards are covered in charred debris. In some cases, only chimneys remain. There are 3 more than 8,000 acres. Washington State Commissioner of Public Lands, Dave Upthegrove.
Behind every one of these images we see that's so devastating, there is a young firefighter running into the woods, putting their lives on the line.
Strong winds fueled the blaze Sunday on Monday. Lighter winds and lower temperatures were helping firefighters. I'm Julie Walker.
Iran is getting a final chance to reach a deal with the U.S. to end the war.
President Trump says Iran is running out of time to reach an agreement with the U.S. and avoid more strikes.
This is the last chance.
Over the weekend, the president said American forces were ready to launch the biggest attack since World War II. But like over previous months, he held off and says today talks will start again in a day or so and shouldn't take long.
It's not very complex.
The first phase would reopen the Strait of Hormuz, with denuclearization to follow. Earlier, Iran's foreign ministry denied talks with the U.S., saying they were instead negotiating solely about the strait with Oman. The president lit into Tehran on social media, calling it unbelievably duplicitous. Sagar Meghani at the White House.
This is AP News. The AP's Lisa Dwyer reports on redistricting efforts in Maryland.
Maryland lawmakers have kicked off a special session to consider a proposed constitutional amendment intended to give Democrats greater latitude to draw congressional maps that could allow Democrats to pick up an additional U.S. House seat by 2028. Out of Maryland's 8 districts, only 1 is held by a Republican. Maryland's Democratic State Senate President Bill Ferguson initially blocked such a move, but now says his position has changed after the U.S. Supreme Court weakened the Voting Rights Act in late April. That decision offered new grounds for Republicans to swiftly reconfigure districts in southern states with large minority populations that have previously elected Democrats. I'm Lisa Dwyer.
Major League Soccer has announced that Larry Berg, co-owner of Los Angeles FC, will be the next commissioner of the league. I'm Mike Hempen, AP News.
We're heading into the freezing depths of the Bering Sea today to uncover a high-stakes, modern-day Arctic rescue mission. Welcome to the National Day Spotlight for August 4th.
In the winter of 2012, a remote Alaskan city was saved from catastrophic freezing by a daring maritime operation that highlights the extreme grit honored on National Coast Guard Day. After a massive Arctic superstorm completely iced in the city of Nome weeks ahead of schedule, the town faced a winter fuel emergency. To prevent disaster, a U.S. Coast Guard polar icebreaker spent weeks plowing through 300 miles of solid pack ice to escort a specialized fuel tanker. Because shallow water prevented the vessel from reaching the docks, crews deliberately let the ship freeze solid into the offshore ice field, rolling out a half-mile pipeline across the open ocean to pump the life-saving fuel. It just goes to show that when nature blocks the shore, the Coast Guard simply turns the ice into their own highway.
I love this story, but you know, how sad is it that this poor town, I mean, they would have run out of fuel.
Yeah.
They would have frozen to death.
Yeah. I love that they just look at ice and go,
okay.
It's Tuesday.
We're also celebrating National Chocolate Chip Cookie Day and National Night Out. I'm Alice Anderson.
And I'm Marlo Anderson with National Day Calendar, reminding you to celebrate every day.
If you're looking for world-class website hosting at a fair price, Pair Networks is your best choice. Founded in the early days of the web and still going strong today, Pair Networks now hosts over 150,000 websites for its demanding customers worldwide. Setting the standards for excellence, Pair Networks has a technical and support staff that's second to none. A highly stable company with top-of-the-line technology, Pair Networks offers total reliability and flexibility for your website, and even a money-back guarantee. Whether you're a professional web designer or a beginner just getting your site online, Pair Networks has a web hosting plan that's right for you. Make the move today. Log on and learn more at pair.com. That's PAIR.com. Pair Networks. World-class web hosting at a fair price. Visit us at pair.com. Pair Networks.
As Guam recovers from Super Typhoon Bavi, GTA is here to help you stay connected and keep you moving. For a limited time, get $400 off any new premium smartphone with eligible plans. Or bring your own phone to GTA and receive up to $300 in account credits. To support your recovery, you'll also receive a free $100 76 fuel gas card. Terms and conditions apply. Visit any GTA retail store today. GTA, we start with you.
Need a truck that works as hard as you do? Then head to Triple J Ford's Big Deals on Big Wheels sales event. For a limited time, score prices below dealer cost and drive home America's best-selling truck for 49 years. The legendary Ford F-150 starting at just $39,995. Choose from the rugged XL, stylish STX, or well-equipped XLT. All backed by the strength, capability, and innovation only Ford delivers. But don't wait. All stock must go. Visit Triple J Ford in Upper Tumon or get pre-approved and shop online at triplejguam.com. Triple J Ford, customers first.
At Bank of Hawaii, we want to help make the goals you're saving for possible. Great rates are possible because you'll earn up to 5 times the national average on savings when you make a qualifying deposit of $25,000 from another bank. And flexibility is possible because you can access your savings anytime and still earn one of our highest rates.
Anything's possible.
Open a Bank Ohana savings special today and reach your possible. Rates based on the FDIC's national deposit rates. Terms and conditions apply. Visit boh.com/savings special.
With decades experience in Guam and the region, Take Care members have access to the largest offering of free fitness classes and health education programs. Membership also includes the high-quality credentialed network of on- and off-island healthcare providers and the one-stop FHB Health Center and urgent care. Ask for Take Care. Call 671-647-3526. Go to takecareasia.com for more information. Take Care. Our island, your health plan.
Half a day, I'm Callan Perez and I'm running for senator. Service to our island has shaped my life, from community advocacy and substance abuse recovery to supporting sustainable agriculture. Inspired by my parents, Dr. Perez and Dr. Erickson, I remain committed to serving the people of Guam. I'm Callan Perez and I approve this message.
Pat's Tinting and Detailing offers premier services from complete interior cleaning and VIP detailing. And to keep you cool, Pat's also offers factory, ceramic, blacked out, and base-approved auto tinting. For more information, call 647-SLAM.
Feeling good, getting things done. Wave 105 FM.
For so long, you and me been finding each other for so long. The feeling that I feel for you is more than stronger. Take it from me, if you give a little more than you're asking for.
And welcome back to the show, 3:09 in the afternoon. This is Wave 105. Here's the number, 671-922-1051 or 2. You got it locked onto the bright side with this gentleman right here, Mr. Pauly Suba. Buenas.
All right, welcome back. We do want to thank our sponsors, MicroPack, bringing Guam the brands you trust and the service you deserve since 1968. Subway, you gotta refresh to be fresh. Triple J, it's big deals on big wheels at Triple J Ford. Save thousands off retail and drive home a new Ford F-150 starting at just $39,995. Visit Triple J Ford today. Customers first. GTA, we start with you. And Chili's. At Chili's, more life, great food, and memories happen here. 671-922-1051 or 1052. We are online, thewave105.com, as well as our YouTube channel, Wave 105.1 FM Guam. So I peeked into the legislature's YouTube channel. And so, again, Public Health is reiterating, we're not asking for any more than the $7.6 million to, again, pay for the remainder of the June payments to the child care centers for all of July, all of August, and all of September. That is what they are there requesting from the legislature right now. They will have to have a conversation to include another $7.6 million eventually for fiscal year 2027. And it could go a number of ways, though. It could, pay through the general fund the entire amount, and then wait for the reimbursement from the federal government, which could come this time next year, put it back in the general fund. However, if this is how we're going to do it from now on, they just have to decide if they're going to set aside $7.6 million every time they contemplate the budget for this child care program. Understanding the federal government, as long as President Trump is president, that there will be no more money. Now, that can change. It can. They definitely have to get the congressmen involved. And that's why it's important, again, when we have the conversation of who is going to be our next delegate to U.S. Congress. Because, again, it's an important question. Do we even know what the role is of the delegate? And does the delegate even know? Because maybe the delegate's like, yo, I'm not the messenger. Like, you, the agency, have to be the one to communicate better to your counterparts, to the federal agency that is providing you the funding and the direction to facilitate a federal program. But in this day and age, in the uncertainty of all of what is happening, I think that that it's fair to ask our delegate, not just ask, but demand that our delegate take a more active role in getting to the bottom of what is happening. Because it is affecting these federal programs that our residents here in Guam qualify for. Whether I qualify for it or not, or Ryan qualifies for it or not, there are people here in Guam, just like any other U.S. territory, that does qualify for certain federal programs, like SNAP, like Section 8.
Oh, man, I would love to qualify for all of that. All that good stuff.
I don't necessarily, I think about the struggles of living in poverty, right?
Hey,
I don't.
That's fine, man, but we got struggles too, Pauly.
Yeah, no, I understand. But I'm not, I have to count my blessings too, right?
Yeah.
And so I want to give people the benefit of the doubt that they're not gaming the system. I'm not going to outright just look at somebody and be like, However, are people gaming the system? Yes.
Yes, we know
Is
that.
there waste, fraud? Yes. And some of it is happening within the government agency. Some of it's happening at the federal government themselves too. But do we need these programs? Absolutely. There are people struggling. And so we shouldn't take it away. We should fight to keep these programs here for those that need it, that are struggling, right? Give people the benefit of the doubt. You're struggling. These are your benefits. You need the assistance. And so our delegate needs to really put that pressure and even have the conversation that they should increase some of this funding. So
no, I and that's why I stated earlier on the show that for would-be organizers for debates or forums, this should be right up there along with military buildup and NDAA, all that good stuff. This question needs to be addressed.
Because for the last year and a half, that has been the big topic of discussion, whether it's in the papers, whether it's in talk radio, whether it's at the dinner table. What is going on with US DOE?
Yeah.
What is going on with all of these preventative programs for Guam behavioral health? The funding's going away?
Yeah.
And so you had GDOE last school year with all the uncertainty saying that they can't communicate. They don't know. They aren't getting any responses from US DOE. You have public health saying the same things for a number of programs not getting the responses for one reason or another. At one point, it was because of the federal government shutdown. And all of the agencies were like, nobody's saying anything because they're all at home. So it affects so many people here, whether we think so or not. And that's why our delegate is so very important. And if that is not the rule, I think that they understand the importance of not just a messenger.
Yeah.
But more than that, seeking out the truth, seeking out the responses that these agencies demand or need to fulfill the agenda of the federal government. Right? Because why is our own public health facilitating? Why are you deputizing so many local law enforcement officers to do the federal mandate? Because Congress or these federal agencies are not providing the real manpower needed. So you are deputizing and you are pulling from the local agencies. And that's not new. We're not the only jurisdiction or the only territory that does that. Other U.S. territories and federal agencies do the same. But that's where our delegate needs to come into play and say, and go to their colleagues and say, yeah, you're going to provide more resources. And the CNMI should be doing the same. Puerto Rico should be doing the same. U.S. Virgin Islands should be doing the same. There are things that some territories have that we don't, and vice versa. The Department of Transportation paid for their ferry system in the U.S. Virgin Islands. There's a ferry that goes back and forth, and you pay a very affordable price to get on these boats, to go from one U.S. Virgin Island to another. The CNMI doesn't have it. Guam, obviously, we don't have it. But that's something, too, that we can advocate for.
The thing, right? You just talked about the different jurisdictions or, territorial areas. And I'm looking at states, and then you said something to the effect where Trump said, as far as this child care program is concerned.
Oh, you can look it up.
The states need to be the one funding this. Well, you see, with that mentality coming from the president, this is a special case scenario for Guam and the CNMI.
For all territories.
It's not one size fit all.
It's not.
Because the way we do things here, you got to think, do we have like an economy where you're hitting like probably $13 billion like California or,
just
billions?
Geographically, we are at a huge disadvantage.
Yeah, there's so many variables here that make us different, and whatever's working there doesn't automatically mean it's going to work here, and that is why it's critical that both candidates for delegate this thing needs to be addressed, because again, the funding is the federal government, and we need to find funding. And if you can't find funding, then hey, you know what? The government of Guam has to say,
right?
Do we need? Can we fund this? And if we can, how much can we do yearly?
Right.
Because if they're asking for $7 million and we can only provide $2 million, then this program has to be revamped. Who qualifies? What is dire need for it? Right? And then you talked about both parents working. Maybe we'll cut them a break because both of them are taxpayers. There's so many ways to do it, but it all starts and ends with D.C. And that's why it's very critical for our delegates to come out. And, next time we bring them in, I'm going to ask, what are your plans for childcare? Yeah, and on these programs that we have on Guam, how do you plan to actually, get this going and get money flowing from the feds when you already know that the president already said we're not funding this, that the states have to be the one.
This is it. This is status quo.
Yeah.
22 million.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think as long as President Trump is president.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the hope is that it doesn't all go away.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But if this is how it is, then we have to look inward. We have to look at ourselves and say, is this something that we are willing to fund?
Well, the legislature currently right now is in session
Yeah.
for this particular issue.
Just to pay the rest of June, pay all of July, all of August, and all of September. Yes, to get us to the end of this fiscal year. Because there is no more money, apparently, unless the legislature appropriates it. And this is why they are that's why they're there, to appropriate this money. Is there money? There has to be. Right? But if they appropriate the 7.6, to Speaker's point, how much more money that is available can go to the airport? And so, like you mentioned, there's so many things we have to pay for, right? So
now it's which is more important.
Tough. I have to go back to Mr. Frank Leon Guerrero of the finance, where he says it's not that this one thing's important, it's that everything's important.
What a way to put it.
Yeah, everything's important. And so, I mean, we want to take care of all of it.
And the sad thing about it is that we're talking about funding all these agencies, and they have the cause and effect deal, right? For every reaction, for every action there's a reaction, right? And so if the legislature takes action, what is the reaction with people? People are going to be hurt. People are going to struggle. Be it agencies or people, right? Somewhere along the line, it's going to be financial and it's going to hurt. And so because it's election season now, the pandering of votes is going to happen, and everybody's going to be like, don't worry, we're going to take care of it. And then, when the election's over, it's back to square one. I mean, that's what I'm worried about.
For sure. 3:25 in the afternoon. There's a number of other things, too, that there's some releases that have come out. Obviously, we haven't even touched the budget bill that has been vetoed. So that's something I definitely want to unpack.
Oh, yeah, we need to talk about that.
And then also the situation between SIFA and George Washington High School.
Even better. I want to talk about that, too.
Okay.
But we do have somebody on line one.
Okay. Hafa Way 105, you're on the air. Yes, Sports Center.
that or is the Law and Order sound.
Oh, yeah. What's going on, Jason?
Hey, Pauly, man, good news to report, man. My Dolphins are doing great.
Okay.
First of all, so I'm very happy, and they're bringing along our rookie receiver, Chris Bell, very well. I mean, man, he's a thoroughbred.
Jason, can I ask you a question? I mean, how is my defending champions right now, the Seahawks? I mean, I just got to put that in there. Defending champions, all right? Defending. Oh, sorry. Did I say champions?
They're looking okay. They're looking good too.
Okay, good.
Yeah, they actually begrudgingly, yes, they are looking decent.
Well, thank you. I want to thank my fans, my friends. Thank God Almighty. I mean, because without them, I wouldn't be able to be here gloating.
I'm just happy we actually found somebody that runs faster than the cheetah this time.
Yeah. Awesome.
So yeah, Chris Bell runs a 3.9, so I'm really happy. So we'll see how he performs when he's ready.
Nice.
Alrighty. Anyway,
yes, sir.
I love the topic you're talking about, Pauly, and Ryan's giving back and forth on that, and you're both actually right on both issues as far as all the things from the Fed. And I hear your what you're saying, and you made a very good point. I mean, we are in a different situation here in the island. we can't compare apples and oranges like how the other states sustain themselves, which is a valid point. But on the other side of that, has anybody here on the island actually done studies of how other islands around the world actually sustain themselves, that don't have like gold or silver or, I mean, there are several islands out there, in the world that actually don't have any inflation. And their economy is just booming because they're doing something right. They should actually start doing studies on that.
For sure. I'm limited to what Singapore is doing. They're always the poster child for independent countries and whatnot. But, again, when we look at our status, we can't do some of the things that some of these other countries, even these free association, they're free to negotiate with China too, and we can't.
True.
Yeah. And so China, in some of these neighboring islands, they're putting in investment, and so we can't ask China to do that. That's a big no-no.
Well, remember, like the things we were talking about, like thinking out of the box. I mean, if we're not going to, raise cattle or do farming, what's out there right now?
Oh, the fishing, right? And I know that's something.
There you go.
Yeah,
that's
the cannery.
What I was actually alluding to.
The cannery, yes.
Yes. Remember, we were talking about this a few months ago.
Yes.
That these liners are making not millions, billions of dollars collecting tuna.
Right.
And they're canning it on the ship, and they're shipping it, right back out.
Right back. And that's why I'm not completely against what President Trump has done to open up these marine reservations, right? Monuments,
They've actually expanded that all the way to Samoa.
Right. And so what that's doing is, again, it's not the Chinese ships that can come in and overfish. It's only American flagged ships.
Right.
That can do this. Yeah. And so, however, our local fishermen always had the exemption. And so they're worried, and that's why those conversations have to continue with the fishing community. And we have to listen intently to them. Is this going to take away their livelihoods because they can't compete with these big U.S. fishing companies?
True. And like what Ryan, could there be a QC for all the local fishermen, because of the fact that they have to sustain their living as well.
Right.
So there's like what he was saying, there's several ways to skin this cat. We just need to think out of the box. And we need to start thinking of that because, what is this funding that, and that's, like I said, over the years growing up and maturing, I'm understanding it more as an adult. Am I totally against, getting federal aid from the states? No. But, a lot of the programs, like what I was saying, the middle class citizen is the one that's actually sustaining everything. Those that are below the poverty line, of course, they're going to qualify. But, who's keeping the economy alive? The middle class. And like what you guys were talking about, we don't need new taxes. We need more taxpayers.
Yes, we need more taxpayers. Yes.
Stop taxing and just create more jobs. We need to, make everything attractive for people to stay here. That's why we need to, man.
Right.
I would love to sit down with anybody in the legislature and brainstorm because there's a lot of ideas. We can actually do a lot of things.
Absolutely. And I think when we see, even in government, we need more cooks, right? And so,
yes.
There's if we're top heavy, we're not doing the agency or even the industry any favors because if you're top heavy, well, who's doing all of the heavy lifting? Who's doing the labor intensive stuff who's actually out there maintaining the roads and doing the hard labor? If you only have a small pool of individuals, that work that needs to happen every other week won't be happening every other week. It'll be happening once a month, once every 3 months, and that's why Guam looks the way it looks.
Yes.
Because agencies like you said, are top heavy.
Top heavy, and just to sum all of this up, it's like watching the movie WALL-E all over again. because we're being spoon-fed everything, and they're just gimme, or I don't have to work for this, or ship it in here. That's the problem, and my work ethic is, if I want something, I'm going to work hard for it and get it myself. So let's start as very simple as farming. What is Guam? Here's a good example, Pauly.
Go for it.
Avocados grow crazy on this island.
Right. So you have a whole road called Alligator.
Yes. Do you know the health benefits if you actually put avocados in eggs? Look at that. And that's another thing. Going to eggs. Eggs, you need that to sustain most of the products that actually are packaged. You need eggs to bake. You need eggs to hold, things together.
Yeah.
And it's the perfect protein. It's the most simplest and healthiest protein in the world.
It's my Fabergé egg.
These are very simple things that Guam can produce, and we can mass produce these things, but nobody's thinking that way. Go back to the basics of survival, which is food. Yeah. We can produce these things and ship these things out and compete, but we just need to start somewhere. Is it going to take some time? Yes, it is.
Yeah.
But look how many people make Denancy out there.
Right.
How many different types of Denancy?
Right.
Do you know the gentleman Chaka?
And at the same time, we need to protect these farmers too from the storms, and so I think we should also
there should always be some type of insurance for that.
Back to the Finadeni thing. There is a gentleman that I don't believe he was born here, but he does know about the Finadeni.
Okay.
And he packaged it. And it's sold. I mean, he's probably a millionaire by now.
What's his name?
The brand is Chaka, and Chaka? I believe it's the Uggan family, the Familian Chaka, right? That's where he's from. And so he packaged the Finadeni, and it's being used at a lot of 5-star restaurants around the world. Now, going back to what you're saying, to your point, Jason, we can do a lot of things. I mean, that guy just proved it right there.
Exactly. Yeah, and that's where the government needs to think out the box. Pauly, you're right. Protect the farmers. We can produce so much food that can sustain so many people. Mainly our island, but then we can actually produce these things and groom ourselves other than tourism. Hey, wow, Guam has avocados. Guam, they fall off the tree. Have you ever seen avocados? They look like the size of coconuts.
Yeah. And then I have breadfruit in my house, too. That always falls down.
That's another thing, breadfruit. We have so many things that just are falling and rotting, but nobody, is thinking out of the box for that. Mangoes, things like that, tangerines, melons, bitter melon, condor. All these things grow here. Hot pepper. Why are we not thinking of these things to actually produce? And
because it makes sense.
For people to
because it makes sense, Jason. It makes sense, and that's the problem. Is that most of the things that make sense, we don't go after it. We do things out of the box that is not really conducive.
We've gotten so accustomed to having everything brought in here that nobody wants to work for it. That's the problem. Everything's shipped here and packaged, and that's another problem. I am a health nut, and I hate to see that we have 6 dialysis centers on this island, because people are dying, or our families. There's always one member in the family that either is diabetic or has some type of kidney disease, because of the fact that the foods we're bringing in. When you eat whole foods, you don't put preservatives. You know what a preservative is? It preserves it from rotting. So when you digest that, it preserves it and it doesn't break down. When you eat whole foods, it's meant to break down in your system to nurture your system. But we're not thinking like that. Let's just get things fast. That's I'm a product of somebody who almost died from a very debilitating illness. I'm 53 years old. Most people who have systemic lupus erythematosus don't last this long. But I attribute my health from eating healthier and working hard for a lot of things. But like I said, there are so many things that connect on this island that we need to think out of the box. I'm willing to sit down with anybody in the legislature to help them think about this, because it's very simple. It's a very simple plan that we can, label Guam as, wow, Guam's producing all kinds of things. And, it's
at
crazy.
one point, because I spoke to Manny Duenas, right, over at the
Fisherman's
Co-op. And he said at one point the schools were buying his fish.
Hotels too as well.
And so I don't know if that program still exists, right? There's no fish buying. They don't buy the fish and it goes to the schools. But
not anymore, yeah.
I need to look into are the schools or Sodexo, whoever is the contractor, buying straight from the farmers? They might be. But I don't know if there's anything on the books to mandate that this happens.
I wonder, Jason,
because that will obviously help the farmers, right? And so, and that's a step in the right direction, because what happens is farming's difficult for sure. And then these typhoons that happen back to back, they lost their crops. So we need to assist them with very low insurance, or even subsidize the insurance, and assist them with federal crop loss program and also local crop loss program. And then mandate that at least the schools buy a huge percentage of their produce. And then have the conversations like you said the hotels do, and they probably do. I know that Hyatt has their own they grow some of their own herbs, right? They have like these herb gardens. I know Capital Kitchen also has it too. And so incentivizing hotels and also restaurants to either set up their own herb garden or whatever produce that they can grow within their property, or give them tax incentives also to buy from the farmers. And we really need to prop up the farmers. We really do, because it's not an easy industry to get into. Not everybody's going to, I mean, we're not even doing it for ourselves. When we talk to Guahan Sustainable Culture and how they are willing to even help with setting up aquaponics and chicken coops, right? And they have a grant to do that. So,
well, but it goes hand in hand, right? Because a lot of people, you always see these programs, right? Always touting, support local. I would support local, but if we give these subsidies to all these places, right? Anything locally produced, be it trinkets, food or whatever, if we give these guys subsidies, then they really, really have to tone down on their prices. This is
true.
Because if I'm going to choose between Conchita, which is like probably $1 a pound, versus
I'm already
local,
on like that everyday value brand, no brand stuff.
Exactly my point. That's what I'm saying. Why are you buying eggs from the States when you can produce that here locally and it'll be a lot cheaper?
Yeah. Well,
here's another thing that you actually might think about.
But
what if you actually, in the agriculture or the forestry, study how EFIT can actually be brought back?
Ooh, yeah.
Can you imagine if Guam produces those things and makes furniture out of that?
Oh, yeah.
Those things will last forever.
Yeah. We have a problem with executing. You know this, right? I mean, we had some.
We have a problem with things that make sense.
That's what I'm saying.
remember
if anybody's listening to me, I just brainstorm these ideas because I think on the box.
Because we had some of these programs.
How are we going to sustain our economy ourselves?
Yeah.
Because that's, like I said, I live my life mantra like that. Nobody's going to help me but myself. I have to do these things first.
Yeah.
First and foremost, I got to get up my butt and do the right thing for myself and take care of my family.
Across.
What more, these are, you can produce so many things with EFIT. Can you imagine if we manufacture EFIT furniture?
Yeah. Across JFK, remember when that was what was that? It was a facility that also helped those with special needs as well.
Is it the Goodwill? Is that
It was
the one?
more than a Goodwill. It was
Yeah.
it was a place where they could sell their goods and their carvings, and I think there was like a thrift shop, but it allowed adults that required some special needs to also work, right? Independent living. And so, I mean, I don't know why we lost that program. That program no longer exists. That whole facility there is abandoned. But we had some programs. I don't know why. I'll blame it on technology. I'll blame it on, people were trying to find a product that was somewhat cheaper, and, that comes from China, comes from Vietnam. Now everybody's ordering from Temu, right?
And that's exactly my point. I know the Vietnamese culture because I'm invested in Vietnam in some form or fashion, and they are very hardworking because they are one of the top leading countries that are they're surpassing China. Their GDP growth is over 7% already. That's how vital they are. Vietnam is the number 2 producer of coffee in the world, behind Brazil. And they did it in less than 10 years. How is that possible? Because they thought out of the box. Yeah. They produce all kinds of things that they're, from clothing to, even, like I said, food. They ship food to other Asian countries because
we need a workforce too. We need to be more willing to see, that's another thing too, right? The federal government has our hands tied when it comes to H-2B workers.
Yeah.
And so one of the advantages that Singapore has is the millions of workforce that comes from Malaysia. They cross a bridge. They live in poverty, and they are migrating over to Singapore to work and then have to go back to Malaysia. And they're even going to school there. And so that's why I think sometimes it is unfair to compare Singapore to us, because their workforce is one bridge away and our workforce is ourselves. And so we definitely need to increase our workforce, whether it's our own children that are coming up, or we really need to get the U.S. government's attention and open up the H-2B worker even more so.
Yeah, definitely.
Because we need a strong workforce.
Let me also put this in perspective as far as the fishing. Okay, have you ever seen videos and documentaries of how they actually they do auctions for tuna in Japan?
No.
Pauly, when they auction in fresh tuna that's brought in, restaurants, these are like top tier chefs in Japan. Some of these tuna, when they weigh it, sell for millions of dollars. And this is fresh tuna that comes off the boat.
Yeah.
And these people are, because they're wanting to buy this, that's what I'm saying. If these, places in Japan or these restaurants or whatever institutions, they auction seafood like that, like it's gold. And we're not doing anything. We're just letting everybody catch it and take it away. It's I hate to say it. We don't think out of the box, and it's everything that's around us, and I always use this analogy, like people picking fruits in your backyard, coming around the front door, knocking your door, and asking if you want to buy.
We've become complacent and dependent.
Yes, exactly. There comes a time when, yes, we need assistance from the federal government, but why not find a way to sustain yourself so that if anything does happen, you'll be self-reliant.
Understood.
Think simple, think out of the box, but go back to the basics of how our ancestors lived. Basic necessities: food, shelter, and water. You can build shelters by raising EFA to build food, things like that. We can do this.
Yeah. Jason, I really appreciate you calling in and just putting all of those ideas in all of our heads, right?
And
they're
like
not
I said,
new
if anybody's
ideas
listening,
either.
man,
They're not
I would
new
love
either.
to sit down and brainstorm these ideas because
Heck yeah.
these things can happen.
Heck yeah. Well, I appreciate you, Jason. We got to run, but thank
All
you
right,
so
man.
much.
Thank
All right.
Fins up.
Shout outs to Hillary. She's saying Hafaday and good afternoon. Laura, afternoon. Pauly and Ryan.
Hey.
Jason is saying Team Brightside all the way. Let's go with the cowboy hat. Yippee-yay. We got to be careful. Bruce Willis
Yeah.
is censored here. Yippee-ki-yay. It's one of my
And just so you know,
my favorite scenes of all time.
just so you know, Die Hard is a Christmas movie.
There-
okay?
Yes, I agree. It is a Christmas movie. That's one way to divide a room.
Yeah.
Is to make that statement because half the people will be like, no, it's not.
Yeah, no, it was a Christmas movie. This is the first time I heard Christmas in Hollis from Run DMC.
There you go. Dave says Guam must diversify in many areas. And then Hillary says, hi, Rick, Jason. Thanks for hanging out with us.
Awesome.
We will take the break.
Yes.
Oh, no.
No,
That's
no,
the
no.
sound
That's the sound
to move forward.
of the man
Okay.
working in the chain gang.
Let's look at the Guam Transportation Program website here.
Sure.
Okay, so they're doing some work, right? We know that this is going on all the way till the 9th. It extends even past, but they give us these weekly updates of what is happening over in Route 10. And so we're 10 minutes away from them picking up and ending for the day. Well, they complete their loop sensor installation project at the Corten Torres and Route 10 intersection. And also loop sensor installation is ongoing at Route 32 and the Route 10 intersection. Again, they're always scheduled to end work at 4 p.m. No work is scheduled Saturday, August 8th. No work is scheduled Sunday, August 9th either. There's also the striping and marking that happens from Route 1 through Route 27 to Anderson Air Force Base. And so that work is also scheduled to end right around 4 p.m. This is happening between Hafaday Market to Anderson Air Force Base. Again, they are installing pavement markings and markers. No scheduled work for this weekend. And you also have Route 17 Cross Island Road improvements from Santa Rita Sumai to Zotnya. Again, work gets scheduled Saturday, Route 17 between Route 5 and Aplachao Bridge. Aplachao Bridge, I think I'm saying that correct. I could be saying it wrong. Saturday, 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. No work is scheduled Sunday. They are doing some power pole installations thanks to Samsung E&C America. And that, again, is from Route 17 between Route 5 and Route 4A, Cross Island Road area. Again, thanks for hanging out with us. We do appreciate, once again, Guam Auto Spot for helping us move forward on this Tuesday afternoon. Call them up, 478-AUTO. Check out their inventory on their website at guamautospot.com.
As Guam recovers from Super Typhoon Bavi, GTA is here to help you stay connected and keep you moving. For a limited time, get $400 off any new premium smartphone with eligible plans. Or bring your own phone to GTA and receive up to $300 in account credits. To support your recovery, you'll also receive a free $100 76 fuel gas card. Terms and conditions apply. Visit any GTA retail store today. GTA, we start with you.
Need a truck that works as hard as you do? Then head to Triple J Ford's Big Deals on Big Wheels sales event. For a limited time, score prices below dealer cost and drive home America's best-selling truck for 49 years. The legendary Ford F-150 starting at just $39,995. Choose from the rugged XL, stylish STX, or well-equipped XLT. All backed by the strength, capability, and innovation only Ford delivers. But don't wait. All stock must go. Visit Triple J Ford in Upper Tumon or get pre-approved and shop online at triplejguam.com. Triple J Ford, customers first.
Pat's Tinting and Detailing offers premier services from complete interior cleaning and VIP detailing. And And to keep you cool, Hats also offers factory, ceramic, blacked out, and base-approved auto tinting. For more information, call 647-SLAM.
How serious is youth vaping? Irreversible lung damage serious. 1 in 10 kids vape serious, which warrants a serious conversation from a serious parental figure like yourself. Not the seriously know-it-all sports dad or the seriously smart podcaster. It requires a serious conversation that is best had by you. No, seriously, the best person to talk to your child about vaping is you. To start the conversation, visit talkaboutvaping.org. Brought to you by the American Lung Association and the Ad Council.
It all connects. The girl who walks for hours to bring home the family's water, the school she can't attend most days, the breakfast she didn't have, the rain that hasn't fallen in months, the danger around the next bend, her little brother's belly laugh, her mother's hug, her dreams of being a teacher, an engineer, the mayor. All the reasons life is both so hard and so beautiful. It all connects. But so do we, for children's sakes. At Child Fund, we connect through everything we do, together, so every child can grow up healthy, educated, and safe. Because we need each other. Learn more at childfund.org.
Balanced, fair, thoughtful. Wave 105 FM.
Welcome back to the show. We're about 7 minutes away from the 4 o'clock hour. This is the Bright Side right here on Wave 105. Standing by, Mr. Pauly Suba. Buenas.
All right, to the phone lines we go. All right, we have somebody on the line. KGUM FM in Dededo, Guam. So we get closer to the top of the hour. Hafa Wave 105, you're on the air.
Hello, Hafa
Hafa
This is John Safaris. How
What's
you doing today,
up,
Pauly?
friend?
Bye.
Congratulations.
What's going on?
Enjoying life, right?
Yeah.
Enjoying life, taking it one day at a time, right?
Yeah.
First and foremost, let me just begin with this. Thank you to everyone who came out and participated in our electoral process this weekend, whether you voted for me or not, or you voted Democrat or Republican. I'm just excited that people came out and voted.
Okay, for sure.
Yeah. Also, special shout out to Dededo who raised their voter turnout rate in the primary election.
Okay.
Despite everybody else who, the election commission and the headlines are saying that voter turnout is down.
Yeah.
In Dededo went from 22% to 29.7% this primary election.
Okay.
Which is hopeful because it is a huge large population of the voter turnout.
Right.
We saw voter turnout in smaller villages decrease, but which is unfortunate, and hopefully that changes in the general. But to see Dededo Jigo come out a little higher in numbers, it's hopeful, right?
Okay.
That more people are coming out to vote as a whole. Yeah, but I wanted to come in and talk about agriculture. I just heard the gentleman right before the break talk about agriculture.
Yeah.
And
go for it.
He's absolutely right. We have to do something towards agriculture. But here's the bigger problem that I see with agriculture. If you go into the stores, whether it be Payless, American Grocery, 7 Day, doesn't matter. The stuff on the shelves are not the stuff that we produce. A lot of the things that are on the shelves are not the things that we're producing on our on the island, right? We produce alligator, manga, doni. We have so many things as string beans, eggplant. We can produce all those things here. A lot of that, seasonal, but the things that are year-round, we produce in the farmers' co-op, and the farmers are actually putting it into circulation. The problem is, we need to work on, when we look at this 90% of import of food stuff, of our commodities, we have to ask ourselves, why has it been 90% for over 10 years? And everybody says we're going to decrease it, we're going to decrease it, we're going to decrease it. But it's because that 90% of the things that we actually that we don't produce here. This is why we have to look at other avenues of agriculture, whether it be indoor farming, greenhouse farming, where we can create environments that are going to produce the things that are actually that are on shelf being sold now. And if we have to go into stuff like that, we have to expand on the rebates that farmers are looking at, whether it be power rebates for greenhouse farming or indoor cultivation, so we can produce lettuce at rapid rates, so we can get it on the shelves and put it into circulation. Because those things are there's environmental factors that we cannot control without implementing other aspects, without building an environment, right? If we cannot build the environment for certain things to grow, we're not going to have a bountiful production. And that's what we need to work towards, right? If we really want to start eliminating and adjusting that number down into the 70s and 80% markers, we have to start producing things that we're actually importing. And I firmly believe that. That's what we need to really look into. So we can get stuff, right? We don't see a lot of people want to consume lettuce, but we don't produce enough lettuce here because the environmental factors. Lettuce likes a little colder environment, and it's too hot to produce lettuce outside.
I swear we had at one point. I remember buying locally produced lettuce, and it tasted
absolutely
so good. It was very fresh,
sweet.
Yeah,
it's so
it was sweet. Yeah,
sweet.
Did we lose that company?
Well, it's not that. It's just the production wasn't. They couldn't produce it. They couldn't produce it.
They couldn't keep it on the shelves, right?
Exactly. So we know that the proof of concept has been proven, but it's about moving into mass production.
Yeah.
So just to remove lettuce, you would say that even if we bring in 7%, so 7% of our produce that is brought in, and I'm just throwing a rough number out.
Sure.
But if we can decrease that into 2 to 3% margin, guess what? We're getting more nutritional produce here because it's fresher, right? And a lot of most produce is going to be most nutritional when the fresher it is from harvest to plate.
Yeah.
The sooner you can consume something, the more of that nutritional value that our bodies are desiring is going to be in that. So when we look at the production of lettuce, and absolutely, lettuce is one of the primary things that I want to look at doing this for, because lettuce can be rapidly grown in small spaces. Literally, using a 20-foot container garden, doing vertical farming on PVC trees. And then you basically you run a hydroponic system, but it is power intensive. But if we really want to work on the farming initiative, right?
I think I've seen that in over at Capital Kitchen.
Yes, Capital has a small scale set of that, and they also use it for their herb garden.
Yes.
But it's also done in I believe there's been models with Sea Grant and different UOG programs that are trying to move into stuff like that, and they've done the research, and it's worth it because at the end of the day, everybody talks about sustainability. We have to be able to produce our own food,
right? And
the only way to do that is to actually work with the farmers who are going to produce it, so we can make it obtainable and for them to do so. So we have to look at power rebates. We provide these water rebates for farmers. Already, we know that when you become when you're on agricultural land or you're a commercial farmer or a bona fide farmer, you're gonna be able to avail of lower water rates. But what if we're looking into indoor greenhouse commercial cultivation, and we're not offering the power rebates that people need in order to keep that sustainable? Yeah. It makes a lot of sense to actually offer that when it's actually when we're doing something to produce something for the people of Guam's consumption. Then as we build it, then now we have a source to actually export because it's scalable. Right. It's scalable in small spaces.
I like it. I don't know if you have time sometime this week to dive deeper into indoor farming and greenhouse farming.
I absolutely, I'll make time for you, Pauly. I'll just have Ryan call me.
Okay.
We'll talk about it because there's layers to this.
Okay, yes,
but
please.
I can tell you that I think that when we talk agriculture, we have to start and it's not that I'm trying to move away from the traditional agriculture that we speak of,
Sure.
but I'm looking at the products and commodities that are on the shelf that we are not
Sure.
producing here, because that's how we're going to turn back the clock.
Thanks. I really want to focus on these two, farming in general, but I don't know enough about indoor farming and greenhouse farming. I imagine, like you said, it's power intensive, right? So the power bills will be high, and so how do we assist those farmers with those kind of tax breaks and whatnot, right? Or
QCs,
QC,
as long as you're on production, right? As long as you're producing, there's QC programs, right? We've offered QC programs to a lot of other industries on this island, but we don't see it for farmers. And we talk about how farming is part of our massive push for sustainability, but there's nothing that's being offered as farm incentives to do so. And we have to get into that conversation.
Yeah, I think also when we think about the cannabis industry that is just starting, right? It's in its infancy, and so I imagine how are they controlling their power bills?
It's power intensive. Most of that is going to be indoor cultivation. We know that it is a power intensive. It is a power intensive environment that, you're looking at lights that are 1200, 12 to 1500 watts a light. Yeah. But when you look at agriculture like lettuce and stuff, you don't need those massively powerful lights. You can actually go into stuff that are 400 to 600 watts a light.
And you probably know more than I do. Actually, you do know more than I do. Not probably. The bill that is now law that allows cannabis growers to be basically bona fide farmers, right? The same benefits?
Well, that was part of the main requirements, because at the end of the day, cannabis, whether you look at cannabis or eggplant, it is agriculture is agriculture is agriculture.
Right.
It's growing a plant from start to finish, from ground to harvest, and then putting it on the shelf. It's an agricultural product, whether we look at it as gola or we look at it as omelet.
Right. Yeah, so... that's a step in the right direction then, I assume.
Yes, and it's basically taking the same principles without adding and I'm not trying to say that we should do this, the QC side, with cannabis because it is a new industry, and I think that we let that develop and we see where it goes. Yeah. And then we bring in the stakeholders and look at what the numbers are from revenue and taxation and GPA and see how that looks at. But we know that we want to turn back the time on the sustainability conversation.
For sure.
Because at the end of the day, if we continuously import 90% of our food commodity, we're not going to. Our level of sustainability on Guam is going to be. We're going to continue to struggle.
For sure. Yeah, and that's always going to be a big topic of discussion when we get into election season is how do we assist, how do our elected leaders help us with our quality of life, our cost of living, and so you have a solution. I'd love to dive deeper in it sometime this week.
We'll talk.
Cool.
You have Ryan reach out and we'll catch up. I know we're pushing to the top of the hour. We'll catch up. I'll catch up with you guys soon.
Hopefully
Thank
Thursday
you,
or Friday.
Okay. Let me know.
All right, John.
Okay.
Take care.
All right, thanks. Yes.
All right, 4:05 in the afternoon. We already gave the call letters. We'll get you your AP News update. Josh Miller of the Junior Achievement Program. He's the executive director. I always like touching bases with him. He's ready to go with a new season for Junior Achievement. And so on the other side of these, he's running just a little late, but we will have that conversation sometime in the 4 o'clock hour right here on Wave 105.
AP News, I'm Mike Hempen. Firefighters are battling wildfires in Washington state in areas some people are comparing to a war zone.
In eastern Washington, where wildfires are raging, some residents are returning to pure devastation, their homes leveled. Major General Gent Walsh heads the Washington National Guard.
I can tell you today that that's a war zone.
As of Monday afternoon, at least 600 homes, businesses, and other structures were destroyed. Many are still under evacuation orders.
Some of these folks may not recover. Some of those folks may not rebuild in there.
Yards are covered in charred debris. In some cases, only chimneys remain. There are 3 Spokane wildfires covering more than 8,000 acres. Washington State Commissioner of Public Lands, Dave Up the Grove.
Behind every one of these images we see that's so devastating there is a young firefighter running into the woods, putting their lives on the line.
Strong winds fueled the blaze Sunday on Monday. Lighter winds and lower temperatures were helping firefighters. I'm Julie Walker.
Iran is getting a final chance to reach a deal with the U.S. to end the war.
President Trump says Iran is running out of time to reach an agreement with the U.S. and avoid more strikes.
This is the last chance.
Over the weekend, the president said American forces were ready to launch the biggest attack since World War II. But like over previous months, he held off and says today talks will start again in a day or so and shouldn't take long.
It's not very complex.
The first phase would reopen the Strait of Hormuz, with denuclearization to follow. Earlier, Iran's foreign ministry denied talks with the U.S., saying they were instead negotiating solely about the strait with Oman. The president lit into Tehran on social media, calling it unbelievably duplicitous. Sagar Magani at the White House.
This is AP News. The AP's Lisa Dwyer reports on redistricting efforts in Maryland.
Maryland lawmakers have kicked off a special session to consider a proposed constitutional amendment intended to give Democrats greater latitude to draw congressional maps that could allow Democrats to pick up an additional U.S. House seat by 2028. Out of Maryland's 8 districts, only 1 is held by a Republican. Maryland's Democratic State Senate President Bill Ferguson initially blocked such a move, but now says his position has changed after the U.S. Supreme Court weakened the Voting Rights Act in late April. That decision offered new grounds for Republicans to swiftly reconfigure districts in southern states with large minority populations that have previously elected Democrats. I'm Lisa Dwyer.
Major League Soccer has announced that Larry Berg, co-owner of Los Angeles FC, will be the next commissioner of the league. I'm Mike Hempen, AP News.
A message from Joshua Jackson, actor and Fair Volunteer Ambassador.
Food allergy is a serious, life-threatening disease that impacts over 33 million Americans. When your immune system sees certain food proteins as a threat, every bite matters. But here's the good news. There have been advancements in the treatment of food allergies, and with one voice, we can create better awareness. Because in the FAIR community, the disease doesn't own us. We own our journey. Talk to an allergist to understand your options. Visit foodallergy.org/empower to learn more.
We're heading into the freezing depths of the Bering Sea.
Need a truck that works as hard as you do? Then head to Triple J Ford's Big Deals on Big Wheels sales event. For a limited time, score prices below dealer cost and drive home America's best-selling truck for 49 years. The legendary Ford F-150 starting at just $39,995. Choose from the rugged XL, stylish STX, or well-equipped XLT. All backed by the strength, capability, and innovation only Ford delivers. But don't wait. All stock must go. Visit Triple J Ford in Upper Tumont or get pre-approved and shop online at triplejguam.com. Triple J Ford, customers first.
Our critically injured veterans and first responders are left behind every day because of inadequate wheelchairs. That's why Wheelchairs for Warriors is on a mission to serve America's heroes across the nation and provide them with custom-fit wheelchairs tailored to fit their needs to ensure they're rejoining their lives at the highest level of independent mobility and function possible. From lightweight daily use chairs or adaptive sports chairs to all-terrain wheelchairs to get these warriors outdoors. Wheelchairs for Warriors serves those who served us. To join their mission, visit their website at wheelchairsforwarriors.org.
4:09 in the afternoon, and we are KGUM FM, Dedido, Guam. Right about now, it's time to check the roads of Guam as we help you move forward, along with Guam Auto Spot, standing by with the very latest on the roads. Mr. Pauly Suba.
All right, so let's check out Route 16. I just got word from our friend Josh that the light over by Route 16 and Route 1, expect major delays, especially if you're on Route 1 heading on to Route 16. It's only unfortunately, that light there is only letting 3 vehicles go, and so you could be sitting there for close to 20 minutes, which is super inconvenient. Route 16, I am looking at a long line of vehicles trying to make a left turn from Route 16 onto 1 for that very reason. It's only letting so many cars make the left turn off of Route 16 onto 1. especially when you're making that left turn. When I look at the rest of Marine Corps Drive, I'm seeing minor delays. It is just, slow going here and there throughout Upper Tumon. Route 10 is extremely slow, trying to get back onto Marine Corps Drive, all over near the airport, and then near Donkey as well. Expect those delays. Once again, helping you move forward on this Tuesday afternoon. That's Guam Auto Spot. Call them up, 478-AUTO. Schedule a test drive. View their inventory on their website at guamautospot.com.
As Guam recovers from Super Typhoon Bavi, GTA is here to help you stay connected and keep you moving. For a limited time, get $400 off any new premium smartphone with eligible plans. Or bring your own phone to GTA and receive up to $300 in account credits. To support your recovery, you'll also receive a free $100 76 fuel gas card. Terms and conditions apply. Visit any GTA retail store today. GTA, we start with you.
Anything's possible. I push to the limits. I climb every wall. I keep on believing. Anything's possible.
If there's one thing we've learned, it's never to underestimate the spirit and strength of the people of our island home. Which is why at Bank of Hawaii, you, your dreams, and your possibilities will always have a home. Reach your possible with Bank of Hawaii. Member FDIC.
It all connects. The girl who walks for hours to bring home the family's water, the school she can't attend most days, the breakfast she didn't have, the rain that hasn't fallen in months, the danger around the next bend, her little brother's belly laugh, her mother's hug, her dreams of being a teacher, an engineer, the mayor. All the reasons life is both so hard and so beautiful. It all connects. But so do we, for children's sakes. At Child Fund, we connect through everything we do, together, so every child can grow up healthy, educated, and safe. Because we need each other. Learn more at childfund.org.
Here for the community. Wave 105 FM.
Hey.
In the afternoon. Welcome to the show. Welcome back to the show. The Bright Side right here on Wave 105. Mr. Pauly standing by.
This is a National Lampoon's Vacation song. I don't know it as anything other than National Lampoon.
Holiday Road.
Yeah. Well,
yeah, you are correct.
We do want to thank our sponsors, and that is Subway. You got to refresh to be fresh. Triple J. It's big deals on big wheels at Triple J Ford. Save thousands off retail and drive home a new Ford F-150 starting at just $39,995. Visit Triple J Ford today. Customers first. GTA, we start with you. Chili's Grill and Bar. At Chili's, more life, great food, and memories happen here. And MicroPack. Don't miss a memory. Get your travel cameras and storage essentials at MicroPack today. Switching gears now, because it can't always be about politics, right? Our very good friend Josh Miller, the executive director of the Junior Achievement Program, and I always love having a conversation about this program. It's one of my favorites, and I always love just having a conversation with Josh about all of the cutting-edge technology that's out there. So thanks for coming along, even though it's roads are wet, man.
I know. I did not expect that traffic. So thank you again for being so patient with me and
Not
you
at all.
for
It all
always
worked
having me.
out. It all worked out.
Yeah. But thank you so much, everybody, too, that's listening out. We really appreciate all the support with Junior Achievement as well. So we're going to talk about that a little today.
Yes. So Company of the Year program is just starting up.
Oh, so right now it's going to be starting on September 14th.
September 14th.
Yeah,
okay.
but, it takes a lot of time and effort
Sure,
to outreach,
yes,
right? So
yes.
this is one of the fun parts, talking to you and kind
Okay.
of getting the word out.
All right. So explain to our audience once again to give us a reminder what the Junior Achievement Guam program is, and then we'll get into what the Company of the Year program is.
Cool. Yeah. So Junior Achievement, we've been around for 51 years here in Guam and so many more years worldwide. So Junior Achievement is a nonprofit organization seeking to help the youth with career readiness, financial literacy, and most importantly, entrepreneurship. So kind of transitioning to company program or Company of the Year, this is one of the great extensions of what we have, or our flagship program. So we teach students through a 20-week program how to open their very own businesses. And I'm sure you've seen a few of them maybe going through the Christmas marketplace that we had at GPO or at Donkey with the trade fairs, right? So this year, we're going to be teaching a bunch of kids with a bunch of other new teams this year as well, which I'll probably tell you guys about in a minute. But most importantly, anyone that joins and becomes a part of the 2 top teams, we're going to be taking them to Bali this year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have you ever been to Bali?
I have not. Have you?
That's exciting. No, I've never.
Yeah, I'm excited. I can't
Yeah?
wait. Yeah.
That's really cool. You know, when I watch some of the videos, right, because everybody creates a commercial. And so I was actually intimidated to see, what the Philippines is doing, what Singapore is doing, what Japan's doing. And then I watched them like, our kids here, the companies here, can stand right alongside these other companies because the reason why I was intimidated, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think even the kids here can be a little intimidated, thinking that they're being sponsored by like the Samsungs and whatnot, right?
Yep. Yeah, they do a lot of great stuff. And, it's a little different with how the countries do it out there in Asia Pacific. So they usually keep the programs in school, but of course, we're having some trouble trying to put that in school here in Guam, but one of the luxuries that we have is we have really firm businesses that want to help the youth.
Yeah.
So when we say like, oh, Samsung's really helping out this group, yes, they are. They're investing a lot of great resources in them, right? Whether it be a 3D printed wristband that helps regulate certain health things around the elderly, which one of the products was made out there.
Right.
But we actually have a strong presence when we compete. So
I believe it, and so our kids, the youth here in Guam, have a very firm grasp on how to use technology today.
Yep.
And so if you didn't tell me that they were from Guam and they're like, oh, they're just a JA group, I would be like, is this group from Japan?
Right.
Is this group from Korea? Like,
Or
no,
Hawaii,
they're from
right?
Guam.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, well, these other kids, their commercial, I guess I might be a little biased, but to be honest with you, I don't know. You've seen their commercials too.
Oh yeah. So
right?
like some of these groups that we have here in Guam go all out, right?
Yeah.
They put it, they film it with a pretty like legit camera that shoots at 4K, and some of the other groups out there do that too. But what's cool about us, we're kind of in you probably hear it, right, a lot with the military and all that. We're in a strategic location here, but we're also in a strategic location here with programs as well. So we have a really great melting pot with our culture here, of course, with the Chamorros and the locals that are here. But we also have other different cultures kind of throwing their ideas at the table when the kids meet up here as well. So that's what we kind of have a really strong presence out there when we compete off island, is because we have a mix of all these cultures. And then when we go out to present, some of these groups are like, wait, are they Filipino? Are they Caucasian? Are they, what are they, right? But we have such a great mix of ideas here, spanning from what makes the island unique, how can we take the island's problems and make it into a need or a want, rather than going to Korea and they have a ever developing country around technology and creating products around that. So we have a different understanding of how products are made here, and they have a different one out there. But we have a really great presence because not only are we very culture centered, but we're also very welcoming. We're also very loving, right? Compared to some of the other cultures that we've experienced out there, right? So we took awards home, such as the best financial practices. We also took JA Career Award, being one of the great groups around happiness and welcoming and having that hospitality, right? And then we also got Popular Choice. So we were a popular choice amongst all 12 countries that competed, and we did well. So,
very cool.
Yeah.
And so, correct me if I'm wrong, you allow those that get involved into the program, the students, to have free reign, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
I like that it's a number of things. Some students are looking at solving an issue here in Guam, and some students are looking at what's relevant today, what's exciting today, what's trending, like the keychains, right, and the mystery boxes. And so they implement their own product using some of what they are learning, what is available now.
Yeah. So like some of the one product from a few, like 2 years ago, was from Bank of Guam. This group saw that, everyone's holding their phones, dealing with that. But there's some people that deal with anxiety or other stresses that come. So what they made was a phone charm that kind of regulates and stimulates your emotions by just, fiddling with it.
Right.
So yes, they do come up with common problems that are around them, whether it be from family, friends, or teachers, right? So that's one of the luxuries about junior achievement. You're not just set to you have to make a t-shirt business and we expect you to do really well. No. You can't make products around liability. So you can't make anything that a consumer can digest, wipe on their skin, such as detergent or soaps.
Right.
And we can't make fireworks, right? So there's a long list of people that want to make a really great business, and that's good. We want them to be creative. But we do have a certain restriction around the things I just mentioned. Yeah.
So while we have this conversation, who are you trying to get your message across? Parents?
The youth, and of course the parents and all the family members that are listening, right? I hope this excites you in some type of way, because like some of the parents that I've spoken to and some of the the adults that are in my age group that graduate high school almost 10 years from now, they're like, I wish I joined something like that. Given the economy nowadays, imagine if you started a business while you were in college. Like for myself, I was lucky enough to have a great idea for my company, and it's flourishing quite well. And it offers me extra cash when I go off island to spend time with my girlfriend, right? But, in that perspective, having this mentality and having the background to develop your own business early on is influential. You don't know what the economy is going to look like. You don't know what your career is going to look like. But imagine if something you make is so successful, you could just walk out your back door and make it in your backyard. So that's what I'm recommending to people. Like parents, anybody that's listening, if you have a youth or anybody that's in high school that really wants to turn nothing into something, then join the program.
Right.
And then high schoolers, for anyone that's listening, join this program. If you want to turn an idea into a reality with no costs associated and do it within a 20-week program with a group of kids that are willing to do the same thing, go for it. Register.
I know that you're going to have these conversations. You're going to go out to the schools, right? And have these conversations with them and, get them excited about the program. And so, I'm not going to pretend that there are high school students listening to this show right now. There probably are some.
Yeah.
But with only a few more days left, I'm pretty sure they're doing other things. But parents and people that are listening at work right now, if they haven't heard of Junior Achievement, it's such a wonderful program. And I just wanted to give you the opportunity as well as for those listening, how it in a positive way has affected not just the student but the community?
Oh man, I've seen so many different stories and so many different journeys.
Yeah.
With just my 2 years operating as the executive director, right?
Right.
So I've seen low income families, struggling to find rides to go to these meetings, but we have some mentors that are just so passionate in the program and so passionate in the students that they want them to come back. So for example, we had a group at BTAX, right? There were 2 young ladies that were struggling to have rides to go to the group meetings, but they were really passionate around making a product from taking used shirts, wash shirts and refurbished shirts, and making it into dog toys. So they loved that idea. They made a little money. So what's cool about the program too, you're going to make real money with this, and whatever money you make, it goes right to the people that made that product. And most importantly, if you distribute stocks against your company as a student, that's extra money too. So like, for example, I invested like $10 every year to all the companies, and I walk away with more than $70 from time to time. But let's talk about another scene. Like, so for example, Mike Sakazaki, right?
Yeah.
He's a great guy.
Absolutely.
He was in JA.
Okay.
We also have Ronnie, the co-owner of Solid Grounds.
Okay.
He was in JA.
I love Solid Grounds.
Yeah. So there's a lot of successful people out here that I've even met someone at a dinner table, and we were talking about his engineering with water wells up in Anderson. And then I was like, oh yeah, I'm the director of JA. And then he was like, oh, I was in JA.
Melanie Mendiola was also
yeah.
the administrator for Gita at one point, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I think she
was in JA.
Yeah. So she helped us judge. I don't know if she was directly in it, but she did help us judge a little bit.
Okay.
Like with you, remember? Yeah. And yeah, so there's a lot of successful stories out there. I mean, look at Mark Cuban. He was in JA long ago.
Okay.
Yeah. So for anybody who's listening, if you want to take it to the next level and potentially maybe become a billionaire, go try it, right? I'm not making any promises, but if you make a difference for yourself now and take your interest to the next level,
right,
the stars is the limit.
For the parents again that will take what they're listening now, or a potential student, right, that's listening, what is the ask? What does the season look like?
Okay, so yes, it is. You can't make a company overnight, right? And I hope you understand that to the listeners, right? So it is a 20-week program. What does it look like? Well, every week, the kids, starting from September 14 all the way to January, February, they're going to be meeting each week to develop those businesses. Of course, you guys have sports. Of course, you guys have different student body things that you guys are associated with, but it's not meant to take time from that. You're only meeting once a week. You can have these other things happening at the same time. But if you want to create a company, work with like-minded individuals that want to make a company with you as well, and potentially go to Bali, I don't know how else to sell it to you, right? But it's just an encapsulating program for anybody that wants to join within 20 weeks, and you just have fun with it, be as creative as possible, and you're able to learn with people that are willing to help you. So for example, maybe you're a senior in high school, or your son or daughter is a senior in high school, or any other family member, right? It's looking for an internship. This is a great way in. We have GTA that's going to be a mentor. We also have a bunch of other companies as well. So, this is not only an opportunity for them to make a business, it's also an opportunity for them to make a name for themselves.
I also, it's not about being perfect either. I'm inspired by these companies as well when I listen to their stories, right? Because when I had the opportunity, and thanks for having me as a judge, when we get to talk to the companies, we hear about their challenges that they faced. We hear about a kid that just didn't want to be a leader, just wanted to join to meet other people on the island. However, one of his peers was not showing up anymore, right? And so they asked who's willing to step up, and they asked anybody. And so he, at that point, knowing that he did not want to be a leader, just wanted to try it out. Said, you know what, I'll do it. right? And I had a chance to talk to him, and I don't think I'll ever forget the conversation. You can see how nervous he was. You can see how he was a little bit timid. However, you know, that's life.
Yep.
That's reality, right? Where sometimes you look around and you're like, man, in order for this project to go, it's gonna have to be me.
Yep.
I'm going to have to get out of my comfort zone. And maybe they didn't win, but I think that kid, at least I want to think so, will remember this moment for the rest of their life. And when things get hard and when things get difficult and when it looks like you could just simply just bow out and give up, at that time he didn't.
Yeah.
And those are the stories that I really love.
Yeah, and I'm so happy you got to engage with that too, because there's so many other stories out there, right? Like how you were sharing your experience in high school when we first spoke about JA, right? Yeah, so there's other stories where, you know, they're so skeptical about where they want to be in life, you know, and they're kind of conflicted with maybe family, right? Like saying like, oh, you should be a nurse, or oh, you should be a doctor, right? But in reality, they like talking to people and they like marketing things, right? Or maybe they want to be an influencer, but they don't know how to get there, right? So having programs like this, so let's just say I don't sell you today. There's so many other programs out there here in Guam that are attached to nonprofits seeking to help the youth find where they want to be, right? So, and this is one of the programs that I highly recommend anybody should join, right?
Yeah.
So if you're trying, let's just not think about the fact that you want to make money someday, right? Let's just talk about the fact that you want to be your greatest self in the smallest amount of time.
Yeah.
I think this is a good way to start.
I agree. So I have so many regrets, especially when I look back at my school years, especially high school. There were other things, and it had nothing to do with school. It had nothing to do with programs. And when I watch these kids thrive, whether it's in JA or in other things, right? I look at my own kids and I watch them participate. I get inspired because like I had some of these opportunities and I took it for granted. And I see these kids taking these opportunities and running with it. This one girl also inspired me, right? So she is one of the what do you call it? The is it communications officer?
Oh, chief marketing officer, right?
The chief marketing officer, the one that gets to direct the commercials.
Yes, that's it.
So I thought that their commercial was the best. However, as a group, they didn't win. Right? And so at one point I was able to talk to the class or the team. And she came up to me and she goes, is there anything that I could do to make it better? And I was actually inspired by that because she, you know, although she didn't win, she wanted the constructive criticism. What could I do moving forward to make my commercial better? And, you know, and I was like to be honest with you, yours was the best, but for me, but as a whole, it didn't win that award. And she just wanted to be, like you said, her best self. And it wasn't about perfection. It's just like, how can I improve? And for me, when I look at this generation, that's why I am very optimistic, because I see people like her and the other member that stepped up even though they didn't want a leadership role, and so many others where they're the next generation. They're the ones that are going to really take over when we as an island or a community are looking for the next leaders.
Yeah, exactly.
And so I see somebody again stepping up. I see this kid, if there's going to be a challenge that this island faces, I hope he stays and he'll step up. What this young woman, you know, stays and looks at the company and says, you know what, how can we improve? She's going to remember, you know, this program, how she was able to accomplish that.
And then even thinking about the people that don't join JA too. Imagine the message that they're portraying around with their classmates too, right? So like if they're joining outside programs like this, that might encourage somebody else to give it a try, which happens a lot, right? So like we usually have like maybe 200 students before I would come on register for the program, but now we're seeing like 300 on average.
Nice.
And some of the students that I talk to, like when I go into a classroom, I only get like maybe 5 out of 50 to sign up, which is fine.
Right.
But all you need is one person to say, yeah, sure, let me give it a try. And then they start bringing their friends, and then they start bringing their family members, right?
Right.
But what I'm trying to say too is that, you know, regardless if you join this program, it's, you know, there's other people around you that are looking to make like something better towards themselves. So look at that in yourself too. If you're nervous about joining a program right now, that's okay. Just watch our socials.
The camaraderie is so cool too, to watch how close they get. Within, what'd you say, 20 weeks?
Yeah, and
they get very close.
You should see how they do it when they go into Asia Pacific. So all the kids that I brought this time around, the 8 kids, they actually became close friends with JA China. And they were planning a trip to see each other. I was like, wow,
that's so cool.
It's really cool.
Yeah, there's a lot of networking that happens.
Exactly.
Too.
Yeah.
Not just amongst themselves, but like you were saying with GTA.
Yes.
So you keep those connections, and then as you graduate, obviously all of these companies are looking for a workforce.
Yeah.
And so they'll tap on them, and they'll see the talent, and they'll see the drive and the potential too.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's just a revolving door of success, you know? So just be a part of it. Have fun with it. But for those that are skeptical, just give it a try.
So the program again starts on September 14, right?
Yes, and then
registration closes on October 1st.
Yes, yes, it does. Yeah,
and so they can register now.
Yes, they can. So with that QR code that I sent you, it takes you to a Google form link.
Yes.
And then you're able to register. It is a little lengthy because we need a bunch of information from you. But other than that, all you got to do is sign up, register, and choose the team that you want to be a part of. Maybe you mind if I share some love to the mentors?
Absolutely.
Okay. So we have a really great set of mentors that are looking to help you succeed. So that's Citadel, which operates with IPNE and ITNE, FDMS, Harvest Christian Academy, Southern High School. Teason High School is still trying to figure out if they have a teacher that's interested, but I'm still going to come to you guys to check on you and see if you want to join. GTA, Breaking Waves Theater Company, Pacific Rim, Bank of Hawaii, Community First, Business Technology Academy Charter School, MCCA or Micronesia Climate Change Alliance, and Bank of Guam. So we have a really long
impressive.
list. Yeah. So I'm actually in talks with the GCC high school programs too. We're trying to get some like teachers to be interested in it.
Okay.
And then we can possibly take some of those business people that don't have a lot of kids, come into the classroom and support them instead.
Nice.
Yeah. So you mind if I share some love to sponsors too?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So we have a lot of great sponsors as well, and I wanted to share them some love too. Of course, we have our legacy sponsors with GTA, Bank of Hawaii, Dusitani, Guam Regional Medical City, Business Technology Academy Charter School, and the Guam Economic Development Authority. They've helped us do some great stuff. We won the GITA grant, so it was awesome.
Nice.
And then we also have a pioneering partner with Bank of Guam, and our Maverick sponsors, Micronesia Mall, Triple J, Graphic Center, and you guys as Glimpses.
These
Thank
guys
you so
are
much.
amazing. Everybody's amazing. And thank you so much for all of your hard work.
Thanks.
You know, it's not easy to put yourself out there and be a mentor to the next generation.
Oh yeah,
right.
Yeah,
I'm sure you get plenty phone calls and
and
WhatsApp messages, not just from the students but the parents.
Yep. I mean, like coming in here, he told me that the door was unlocked, but I was so busy on all these phone calls, I didn't realize that it was open. But yeah, we have a lot of great mentors, and thank you too, Pauly, for being a judge. It sounded like you really made it your own, and I really appreciate you helping out the youth.
Anytime, friend. Anytime. Did we miss anything?
You know, I don't think so, but
Okay.
I mean, if we did, just let me know.
Okay,
I can come back on.
Mean, obviously, the door is always open.
Thank you.
You know, for you to come back and share all of the amazing progress. I have no doubt that this year's season is going to be amazing. It always is.
Yes.
Yeah,
I agree. So,
all right,
thank
Josh
you.
Miller, do you want to put out any other information if anybody else needs to get a hold of you, you're more than welcome to.
Oh, thank you. So if any of you parents or anyone listening has any questions, you can email me at executive.director@jaguam.org or .com. Yeah, .com. Sorry. But yeah, so give me a message if you guys need anything. I know there might be some people skeptical due to the time frame, but trust me, it will go fast.
So worthwhile.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yes.
Yeah. So I apologize for even more phone calls or more messages now.
Yeah, I don't mind. Email me,
right?
Text me.
There you go.
Yeah.
Okay, and it flies by too.
It does.
Before you know it, it's already those Christmas markets.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm really excited though, and then I'm excited for our Teen Expo that we're gonna do as well.
Sweet.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun.
That is exciting, and we'll have to bring you on for that one too.
Yes.
All right, we'll take the break. I'll make sure Josh gets out of here, and then we'll hook you up with another traffic report right here on Wave 105.
Cool. Thank you.
First-time guests and longtime friends, all for First Light and Starlight. For road trips and trail runs, all for mountaintops and monuments, river bends and battlefields. We're all for showing up and giving back. To protect, to preserve, to pass it on. All parks depend on us, and we're all for parks. Join us at nationalparks.org/allforparks.
All right. Well, now that Pauly is actually escorting our guests out, that means I'm doing traffic right about now, so I'm going to let you know where to go and where not to go on your daily commute for this Tuesday, August 4th. All right, let me see where we're at. All right, if you are currently on Route 1, right at the ITC intersection, headed up northbound, slow-going traffic there as we get closer to the 5 o'clock hour. So if you're northbound on that intersection, please be patient. Likewise, headed down southbound on Route 1 at the ITC intersection, give that braking distance between you and the car in front of you, and you'll get to where you need to go. All right, moving right along up the road on Route 1 at the intersection of Route 10A, that's the airport road from Route 1. If you are coming from Route 10A, coming from the airport, slow going traffic there if you're trying to connect onto Route 1. And if you are leaving Route 10A, headed into Route 1, it's slow going traffic there too as well, both north and southbound on Route 10A. And that was your look at traffic, moving you forward along with Guam Auto Spot. Don't forget, you can check them out on their website at guamautospot.com. Set up a test drive, check out their inventory, or give them a call at 478-AUTO. Guam Auto Spot. Check them out. We're going to take a short little break, come back with the rest of the 4 o'clock hour right after this.
As Guam recovers from Super Typhoon Bavi, GTA is here to help you stay connected and keep you moving. For a limited time, get $400 off any new premium smartphone with eligible plans. Or bring your own phone to GTA and receive up to $300 in account credits. To support your recovery, you'll also receive a free $100 76 fuel gas card. Terms and conditions apply. Visit any GTA retail store today. GTA, we start with you.
Need a truck that works as hard as you do? Then head to Triple J Ford's Big Deals on Big Wheels sales event. For a limited time, score prices below dealer cost and drive home America's best-selling truck for 49 years. The legendary Ford F-150 starting at just $39,995. Choose from the rugged XL, stylish STX, or well-equipped XLT. All backed by the strength, capability, and innovation only Ford delivers. But don't wait. All stock must go. Visit Triple J Ford in Upper Tumon or get pre-approved and shop online at triplejguam.com. Triple J Ford, customers first.
Our critically injured veterans and first responders are left behind every day because of inadequate wheelchairs. That's why Wheelchairs for Warriors is on a mission to serve America's heroes across the nation and provide them with custom-fit wheelchairs tailored to fit their needs to ensure they're rejoining their lives at the highest level of independent mobility and function possible. From lightweight daily use chairs or adaptive sports chairs to all-terrain wheelchairs to get these warriors outdoors. Wheelchairs for Warriors serves those who served us. To join their mission, visit their website at wheelchairsforwarriors.org.
As Guam recovers from Super Typhoon Bavi, GTA is here to help you stay connected and keep you moving. For a limited time, get $400 off any new premium smartphone with eligible plans. Or bring your own phone to GTA and receive up to $300 in account credits. To support your recovery, you'll also receive a free $100 76 fuel gas card. Terms and conditions apply. Visit any GTA retail store today. GTA, we start with you.
Feeling good, getting things done. Wave 105 FM.
No more running down the wrong road, dancing to a different drum. Can't you see what's going on deep inside your heart? Always searching for the real thing, living like it's far away. Just leave all the madness in yesterday. You're holding the key when you believe it. Shine, sweet freedom, shine your light on me. You are the magic, you're right where I wanna be.
4:46 in the afternoon. Welcome back to the show. Here's the number, 671-922-1051, or two. Phone lines are wide open. Be a part of the discussion. Talk to this gentleman right here, Mr. Pauly Suba. Buenas.
All right, welcome back. Thanks for hanging out with us here on the Bright Side on a Tuesday afternoon. Speaker Frank Blas Jr. is calling the legislature into their 10th special session.
Really?
By the request of Magahagan Guahan Lulian Guerrero, Monday, August 10, because she vetoed the budget bill.
Okay.
Right? And so that is the substitute budget bill, because the governor sent down a budget bill.
Yeah.
And then they immediately, when they were debating the budget, they're like, we don't like this one.
Okay.
We like this one.
Okay, so what are we...
And so that budget passed 8-6, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Was it 6?
Yeah, 8-6.
Okay. All right.
Right?
Yeah, because there's 9 Republicans.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there was one lone Republican that voted.
Right.
Okay. Yeah.
That didn't vote
That
in
didn't
favor
vote in
of it,
favor of
yeah.
the bill. Okay, so what are we in session for today?
8-7, sorry, 8-7.
Yeah, what are we in session for today?
That is
The child care.
another special session. That's the 9th special session.
Okay.
So that's for child care. This is not, this is again to appropriate money for child care, the child care program, and subsidize the program with general funds.
Okay.
For all of June, the rest of June, all of July, August, September. So that's not part of the fiscal year 2027 budget. And then they also have to decide if they want to appropriate, and I don't even know that number because it keeps fluctuating. Is it 17 million? Is it 19 million? Is it 22 million to the airport? So that's all part of the 9th special session. The 10th, that will again happen Monday at 10 a.m. They will discuss
the
budget bill that the governor has sent
submitted.
down, saying, I vetoed this one, the one that you guys just passed. Now contemplate, and hopefully you will, you will go along with this budget bill. And so we'll see.
It's almost like a game of poker. I see your bill. I raised
I
you
raised
this
you
one.
this one, yeah. So what she is saying, though, is she's saying that she's not trying to raise the BPT back to 4.5. She wants this, her new budget will keep it at 4%. So you don't have to worry about...
I'm already getting confused with
You're
all the
already
special
confused.
sessions.
Yeah. And so Senator Gumatauta is saying the legislature already passed a responsible budget, and the governor vetoed it for. Senator Sean is saying that she vetoed it for political reasons. So we'll see. Again, the special session to figure out what the legislature wants to do moving forward. So. Sean Gumatauta is disappointed that she rejected the legislature's budget. He says some Democratic senators wanted to spend much more money during negotiations, but then later voted against the budget. He believes politics got in the way of compromise, and he argues the governor chose politics over leadership. He says history will judge her decision.
Ooh, that's some strong words. Ooh.
He believes
Scared of you, Sean.
government should serve the people, not political interest.
Those are fighting words.
Yeah. So she says, again, that she's not trying to raise the BPT back to 4.5. Her new budget keeps the BPT at 4%, just like the legislature wanted. Instead, she says she found another way to pay for government services by using about $18 million in higher than expected corporate income tax revenue. And so she says we can keep the 4% BPT and still fully fund government services. She says what was missing from the legislature's budget was Medicaid and other public health programs, child care subsidies that they're discussing right now, right? But remember, they're going to have to also discuss $7 million every budget
annually,
session.
Yeah.
So that's why this one will also touch on fiscal year 2027 and subsidizing child care services. Also, senior citizen services, public assistance programs, Guam Behavioral Health and Wellness Center, services for people with disabilities, hiring more police officers, firefighters, and correction officers, youth programs, and workers' compensation funds, other basic government operations. She says these programs would have been underfunded if her revised budget is not adopted. And so her proposal includes $7.6 million to keep the child care subsidies available through fiscal year 2027. She says without this money, fewer children would receive child care assistance, working families would struggle more, and child care providers would face uncertainty. She also says this funding is in addition to separate legislation that fixes the current fiscal year 2026 child care funding shortfall. She says she vetoed the budget because the legislature reduced government revenue. It did not fully replace the lost money. That meant important government services would be cut, and her revised budget restores those services while still, again, keeping the BPT at 4%. And so, again, the legislature will go into special session, the 10th special session, Monday, August 10 at 10 a.m., and so she is asking senators to consider and vote on her revised budget instead of the one that she vetoed. And so that's when, I think Senator Sean Gumatauta's response came
right
sooner.
after she vetoed.
So he must have known that she vetoed before a press release came out.
She came out swinging. I'm hearing all this stuff about the budget, and I don't like it. I don't like what I'm hearing. So, yeah, she kind of preempted that. Like, okay, I'm gonna veto this, and then so see, this is why the legislature need to work together, and be nice to each other, because when she vetoes, now the Republicans are going to have to really...
They're going to have to persuade Senator Tello.
Yeah,
right?
to come on board.
And then Joe or Tina.
Yeah, they need two. They need two to override the veto.
One can be Tello,
Mhm.
and one can be a Democrat.
Yeah.
Now, I think you still have to have the conversation with all of them. You
Mhm.
can't just say, well, we haven't worked well this entire 2 years, so I'm not even going to try.
Which is the art of compromise. That's
you
why.
should still have the conversations.
You know how I would do it? I would pick out the one Democrat. Okay, what do you want in this budget? Okay, you need that? Okay, we got that, right? Because that person's going to have to just jump on the budget. So they need to go back, rehash out everything, go back to these senators, and it's like, look, like for instance, Senator Chris Barnett was asking for something, right? What was he asking for within the budget? He was talking about $40 million that they're shortcutting, all these programs and whatnot.
Oh, well, there's even, he had the SUFU.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Where it's like $1,000 for typhoon recovery.
Yep. Yeah.
So there's that.
Maybe give him that and he'll be that one Democrat, right?
There's Senator Tello that also wanted to keep the BPT or increase it for all military contracts.
Yeah. Which makes a lot of sense anyway to me. I don't know why they didn't do it. But going forward,
and it was actually it's military built construction projects.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So not just military contracts. It had to involve construction.
Yeah, because half of the time, I mean, one can say, well, they do subcontract to all these local companies and they pay their taxes, and we're already paying it, with the agreement on the NDAA, right? But so I don't know the intricacies of the tax bracket and the breakdowns and everything, but I'm going at what do they call it, the lawyer term. Prima facie, at face value, and I take it at face value of what they're saying. But I think that's how they're going to have to override this veto. You got to give somebody something to get them on board. Tello, you can basically say, hey, look, you're a Republican, all right? It's the general. Do you really want this? I mean, they can basically pull Tello a little bit closer. And just like, hey, wave the Republican flag. You need to jump on, but at the same time,
I don't think that's what is going to get her attention.
Oh well, yeah, but there's many ways to skin this
Well,
cat.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, at this point, right? I mean, all sides can vote.
Yeah.
Right. So I mean, we've heard her on the record. It has nothing to do at this point.
Yeah.
With voting Republican, I'm going to do what's right for the people, and she has her own opinion on what that means, right? And her own perspective on what that means.
Yeah, but like I said, you're not gonna track the the proverbial. Saying
you
can attract
more. What is it? Is it
you can attract more flies with honey than vinegar? Yeah, so
than
that's
with water. I think. See, we're ruining it.
Yeah, something like that. yeah. But
why do I even want to attract
flies?
I want the flies to go away.
It's like everything stinks to high heaven. You're attracting everything.
We're ruining that phrase.
But they need to. That's politics is the art of compromise, right?
Yeah.
You give. You get what you give, right? You basically tell, like Chris Barnett, hey, you want your bill or this amendment to go through, we can work it. I can't give you the $10 million you're asking for, but I can give you $5 million, right? So I mean, that's how it works.
You can catch more flies with honey than vinegar. Means kindness and sweetness are more effective than harshness or rudeness.
Yeah, and then what's
achieving your goals?
On the sweetness part, the sweetheart deal. That just seems to be the phrase thrown around. So if you do that, I think they would probably get the numbers to veto, to veto
or contemplate the governor's bill, budget bill.
I at this point, I think this whole thing about Senator Sean saying it's all political. I'm like, dude, come on, man. Sean, okay.
The governor planned on vetoing this bill a long time. She warned them.
Yeah.
She warned that she would if they didn't implement some of these things. And
I
so,
mean, it's safe to say, Pauly, that everything, because it's election.
and I think the governor is compromising again by keeping the BPT at 4%.
I think she's on the right track with that. I mean,
But
again,
again, I haven't looked at her budget to see exactly how this all will unfold.
I think that's the most important
Because
thing.
that's why I appreciate the debate. I appreciate because they start to unpack these things and go into the detail.
Yeah.
And then we get to see, is this a good deal or not? That's why I don't want the cameras to turn off. I want to see, is this a good deal or not?
That's the one thing I'm going to miss about Speaker Frank. He was good at doing that. Oh no, keep the mics on. Let's show everybody what the party is over here. Keep that cameras rolling. But, I mean, so going back, right, with, Senator Sean saying that, she's making this political. I'm like, bro, the mere fact that she was calling special sessions in the middle of campaigning, so that you guys can't focus on your campaign and you guys have to address the special session, that was political. Okay, so it's the gamesmanship.
And I also think they went too early to help with the campaign. Thinking but on the record, it was Speaker Frank that said, we're going to get this done because I understand that you all want to attend these memorials.
Yeah.
But what happened to those memorials?
Yeah, it got canceled
They
because of
all
the
got canceled or postponed because I'm hearing that Menyengen Memorial is happening again.
They couldn't even use the parade deal, right? Because they canceled that too as well.
Yeah. I think that you're back to the drawing board at this point, having to contemplate funding a number of agencies and then still have to contemplate this budget bill. And now we're in August. And you also promise that you will have a supplemental budget bill that you will debate as well. And all of those things have yet to happen.
Wow.
5:02 in the afternoon, KGUM FM in Dededo, Guam.
AP News, I'm Mike Hempton. A wildfire in Washington state has destroyed hundreds of structures and forced Spokane area residents to evacuate.
Light winds and lower temperatures are forecast to help firefighters with wildfires in eastern Washington state. That forced 60,000 people in the Spokane area to evacuate and destroyed at least 600 homes, businesses, and other structures.
This is a tragedy no one ever wants to have to wake up to, and we understand people want to get back to their homes.
Benjamin Kossel, spokesperson for the management team fighting the three major blazes in the area, says they've burned more than 12.5 square miles.
But because this is the number one fire in the nation, we have an incredible amount of resources here at our availability.
He says weather was an issue Sunday.
This has been a wind-driven fire. This has been the
AP News, I'm Mike Hempton. Testimony is focused on entries from Lindsay Clancy's diary at the trial of the Massachusetts woman who killed her 3 children.
In Massachusetts, the trial resumed for Lindsay Clancy. Testimony focused on her journals and the mental state of the mother of 3, which killed her 3 children in 2023. Both Plymouth County Assistant DA Shannon Buckingham and Defense Attorney Kevin Reddington read Clancy's journal aloud as they questioned a state police investigator.
November 18th, that page reads, "It's like I'm so desperate to get a mental break from taking care of everyone that my mind is trying to make something physically wrong with me.
I now have horrible insomnia and anxiety, which is causing depression. I have no appetite. I don't know what's wrong with me. I want help."
Clancy's defense argues she was suffering from over-medication and postpartum psychosis. Prosecutors say she acted intentionally. I'm Jennifer King.
Information is surfacing about President Trump's finances as one of his holding companies takes Capital One Financial Corporation to court.
Capital One closed President Trump's accounts in mid-2021 after flagging financial activity that resembled money laundering. The bank disclosed this in a court filing over the weekend. Trump has sued Capital One, alleging the closures were politically motivated following the January 6 Capitol attacks. Capital One seeks to dismiss the lawsuit, stating the closures followed months of analysis by its anti-money laundering team. Trump has also sued JPMorgan Chase, claiming similar political motivations. Both banks deny these claims, citing unusual practices as the reason for severing ties with President Trump. I'm Ken Sweet.
President Trump's administration is planning to overhaul the Head Start program. Two people familiar with the deliberations tell the Associated Press the administration's proposed changes could significantly reduce the preschool program's quality standards. This is AP News. Cuba is dealing with a crippling blackout.
Some Cubans are sleeping along Havana's famous Seaside Boulevard in the face of crippling blackouts during suffocating summer heat. The Trump administration effectively cut Cuba off from oil in January. The collapse of the energy grid has much of the island with no electricity on a regular basis. Elaine Dellis is sleeping on the seawall, the Melicon. She says when we start to hope that the system will hold, then it goes down again. I don't know. There is no solution. During this latest blackout, the temperature hit 93 Fahrenheit in Havana, but it feels like 106. Alexi Rios says everything is going backwards. Tomorrow it is going to happen again, and they will say that again the system is down. So, to sleep at the Melicon. Rolling blackouts in Cuba now last more than 20 hours a day. I'm Ed Donahue.
I'm Mike Hempen, AP News.
Ever dreamed of being on the radio? Now's your chance. Glimpses of Guam is looking for the next generation of on-air personalities to join our family on Wave 105. If you've got personality, creativity, and a passion for entertaining, we want to hear from you. No matter your experience level, this could be your opportunity to be heard across the airwaves. Send your resume and a short demo to jobs@glimpsesofguam.com and start your broadcasting journey today. Join the Glimpses of Guam radio team. Your voice belongs on the air on Wave 105.
Need a truck that works as hard as you do? Then head to Triple J Ford's Big Deals on Big Wheels sales event. For a limited time, score prices below dealer cost and drive home America's best-selling truck for 49 years. The legendary Ford F-150 starting at just $39,995. Choose from the rugged XL, stylish STX, or well-equipped XLT. All backed by the strength, capability, and innovation only Ford delivers. But don't wait. All stock must go. Visit Triple J Ford in Upper Tumon or get pre-approved and shop online at triplejguam.com. Triple J Ford, customers first.
.07 in the afternoon. Welcome back to the show. It's now that time to check the roads of Guam as we help you move forward. Standing by, Mr. Pauly Suba. Buenas.
All right, let's break out our handy-dandy Glimpses of Guam. Glimpses Media Traffic app here. 5:08 in the afternoon. It's just like clockwork. Starting to see things get a lot busier, especially on Marine Corps Drive in the capital. Also telling Santa Papa getting onto 4. I see congestion there. Even on the other side, I think that's all challenge Santa Papa, right? All the way to Cathedral. Well, anyways, right around that intersection, that 4-way intersection, I'm seeing delays there. Whether you are trying to make a left turn onto Route 4 headed to Route 1 or a left turn to get onto 4 to head towards Sinahanya. Otherwise, Route 4 is pretty decent. Route 10, major congestion, trying to make a left turn onto Route 4 to continue on to Pagu Bay. I don't see too many issues along Route 10 elsewhere in the Mingalao area until you get to the Barragata side. Obviously, over at the Tri-intersection, mild delays there. Route 16 definitely slows down when you get closer to Harmon Loop. Mild delays as well throughout Upper Tumon. Once again, helping you move forward on this Tuesday afternoon is Guam Auto Spot. Schedule that test drive today. Call them up, 478-AUTO. View their inventory by checking out their website at guamautospot.com.
As Guam recovers from Super Typhoon Bavi, GTA is here to help you stay connected and keep you moving. For a limited time, get $400 off any new premium smartphone with eligible plans. Or bring your own phone to GTA and receive up to $300 in account credits. To support your recovery, you'll also receive a free $100 76 fuel gas card. Terms and conditions apply. Visit any GTA retail store today. GTA, we start with you.
Explore, snap, and share for a chance to win a round-trip ticket to Taiwan. Join the Guam Photo Hunt and visit iconic landmarks and hidden gems island-wide. The more locations you photograph, the more chances you have to win exciting prizes. Learn more and submit to win online at visitguam.com/photo hunt. Terms and conditions apply. Explore, snap, and rediscover Guam. Brought to you by the Guam Visitors Bureau.
Hafiday Guam! The Guam Hotel and Restaurant Association invites you to the Fair Trade Show, Guam's premier hospitality and food service event. Join us August 19th and 20th at the Hyatt Regency Guam from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Experience hands-on training sessions and exciting culinary competitions featuring professionals, apprentices, and pastry talent. Discover new products, connect with suppliers, and celebrate Guam's hospitality industry. Don't miss Fair 2026. Visit GHRA.org for details.
Ever dreamed of being on the radio? Now's your chance. Glimpses of Guam is looking for the next generation of on-air personalities to join our family on Wave 105. If you've got personality, creativity, and a passion for entertaining, we want to hear from you. No matter your experience level, this could be your opportunity to be heard across the airwaves. Send your resume and a short demo to jobs@glimpsesofguam.com and start your broadcasting journey today. Join the Glimpses of Guam radio team. Your voice belongs on the air on Wave 105.
KGUM-FM, Dedido, the talk of Guam. This is Wave 105.1 FM, a Glimpses media radio station.
That song out to Governor Lou Leon Guerrero.
She's exciting?
Yeah. Yeah, she's keeping everybody on their toes down to the legislature.
Well, she warned them.
Yeah.
I had no reason to believe that she was not going to veto it.
Yeah.
I had no reason to believe she gave all the clues that she was going to veto this bill. So
Yeah,
I'm
no.
not surprised.
You know, and
that's why I was actually more surprised by Senator Sean's release. Like, I think we all knew she was going to veto the bill.
No, but at the same
budget.
time, right? I mean, I got to give it to both of them, you know, that they are standing on business with their stance. Like, all right, you know, the legacy thing that he was talking about.
I
and history.
disagree, though. I disagree with that statement. I think
but you
for
gotta-
me,
yeah.
I will always remember how she allowed, when all the other ports were closed for the carrier,
Okay.
she opened the port to save lives. And so I will never forget that.
But at the same time, Pauly, I also remember when the order came out with no masks, no gatherings and everything, and somebody had a party at a hotel with no mask, and everybody was dancing, and, you know, and that was all over social media. And I'm like, okay.
Who was at the party?
Oh, man, I don't know. It was somebody's birthday. I want to say it was probably Lieutenant Governor Josh's birthday or somebody.
Was it?
Yeah. But it was all over social media. Somebody posted it up on Facebook, and, you know, so on one hand.
Do as I
yeah.
say.
Exactly. You know, what's good for the goose is not good for the gander and everything. And that's why a lot of people were like saying, wait a minute, you know, you want us to not have any congregation of 75 or more people, You're talking about clusters and everything, and then Adelup and everybody down there was having a ball at some ballroom for somebody's birthday. And I was like, I actually saw the video, and I'm like, man, okay.
Was it here or was it in the Philippines?
No, this was here. This was here, yeah. And, and at the time, I think...
Not to say that it was right or wrong, because there were apparently some trips where people were hanging out very close to each other in the Philippines and then coming home and getting people sick.
No, but I mean, it could be debated, right? I mean, a lot of people can say she did it to, to keep Guam safe. And that's a noble thing. But again...
Well, what was the narrative then? What was the data saying? That thousands of people would die. That's what she was getting, that information, that thousands of people will die. Doctors, right? I mean, the CAR score.
And that's why, and that is why it was hard. It was hard to be on the side of Governor Liu when you have all these people from Adelup that was partying like, it was 1999. So I'm like, okay, wow. Wow. I mean, because, and it really hit home, close to home to me, because my brother passed away in 2020, and we weren't allowed to have friends and relatives come to the rosary. We had to do it on Facebook.
Yes.
And that's how we were praying for my brother. And then you see this, at the hotel, and the same people that are saying that we cannot do this were doing what they said we couldn't do. And I was like, man, and it really just struck a lot of people the wrong way. But we live and we learn. And so, yes, it was a noble thing to let the chips come in. And yes, so it's like, okay, I guess that's where Sean was going with the legacy thing. Like, a lot of people are going to remember, what
that you
did.
vetoed the budget bill.
No, history
maybe those other
other
things. Okay,
and
that's fair.
Yeah, it's just compounding.
That's
all
fair,
of it.
but I don't think vetoing the budget bill is gonna.
Well, that too, right? Like, how dare
legacy.
How dare you veto my $1.4 billion budget, right? That's legacy right there, the $1.4 billion.
Oh, yeah.
So, again, hey, all is fair in love and war, especially during election time.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Here's the number, 671-922-1051 or 2. Please give us a call.
I do want to thank our sponsors, right? And so that's our friends from MicroPack, heading off island. Capture every moment with cameras and memory cards from MicroPack. Subway, you got to refresh to be fresh. Triple J. It's big deals on big wheels at Triple J Ford. Save thousands off retail and drive home a new Ford F-150 starting at just $39,995. Visit Triple J Ford today. Customers first. GTA, we start with you. And Chili's Grill and Bar. Chili's, more life, great food, and memories happen here. Also, I've got some good news from our friends at Provisions.
Okay,
they're
before
open
we
Monday.
Before we start with the good news, because we do have a phone call, and I know he wants to talk about the budget. So,
okay.
Yeah, you want to put that on first before we do the good news?
It just depends. I'm not trying to be rude or anything, but it's a sponsored element, so I don't want to forget.
Sure.
I don't want to forget it.
Okay,
and then we don't do it.
Okay, I'm not playing any videos or anything like that.
No, you don't need to.
Right,
Let me just get through this because it's not going to take long.
Okay.
Provisions, wine, and cheese. They serve fresh salads, delicious sandwiches, and authentic Roman-style pizza. Provisions is open Monday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. Call Provisions at 671-633-9463. Place your order today or visit the website provisionsguam.com. And so some good news is that we could be contemplating opening our MySpace again.
Really?
Yeah.
Man, I got some old pictures from there, man, that I want to. I need it back. I need it back.
Forget the budget, Bill.
Yeah. MySpace.
Bring back MySpace.
Biba MySpace.
Yeah. I was, so it looks like, Chris and Tim Vanderhook, they're the owners of MySpace.
Okay.
And they're saying that they're just waiting for the right time to relaunch MySpace. They have publicly reiterated their commitment to bringing the platform back, but they have not yet provided a specific timeline to launch to launch it. They haven't given us a release date, but Fox Business is reporting on it. We have Yahoo that's reporting on it. I also pulled from Rush.com and tech.yahoo.com. CBS News, MSNBC, and anything on MSNBC is fact, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah. Like, yeah. If the liberals said it, yeah.
So, they do plan on relaunching it, but I was trying to find exactly when they're going to do it. But they said they're just waiting for the right time.
Okay, first
to
off,
do so.
Okay, I've been on MySpace, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you can actually,
You rank your friends.
Yeah, you rank your friends, and you can design your own page.
See that?
And pimp your own page out. You know,
who
put
are
music.
your top favorite senators?
Yeah.
And then every time they mess up, you drop them and you add another one on.
Now, all of your kids right now that are like in
you can rank your kids too.
All of you kids right now that are all Facebook and Instagram and everything, you don't know
You don't
anything
even
about
know
MySpace.
Yeah, Here comes all of my
man,
songs.
I'm telling you,
my teenage dirtbag song
You know.
is from.
You know what you need to do?
Man, now I can't believe I forgot. It's not Weezer.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't be surprised if it was that.
I can't
'cause
believe I forgot. It's not Weezer.
Yeah.
But I remember Teenage Dirtbag. That used to be the song that I would put
Green
on.
Day?
No, it ain't Green Day.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Just like,
Man, I'm not a real punk fan because I forgot the name of that group.
but the interesting is,
Just a
the thing
poser.
is, I actually typed up MySpace and then I put my name, and it's still the link is still there,
Yeah?
but it's locked out. So I'm hoping if they do open, they just reopen the links, and so I can actually go into
You
my.
have to prove that you're a millennial or a Gen Xer. If you're Gen Z, block you. It's not for you.
No, I'm not a Gen Z.
It's not for the Gen Zers, Gen Alpha. No.
Yeah, I was born in
This
the 70s,
millennials
raised in the 80s,
and Gen
partied
Xers.
in the 90s, and mellowed out.
Right.
Like
There's
got to
be a way to
2000s.
block them too.
Yeah.
There's got to be a way to prove it. Like they gotta answer questions like name 5 cartoons from Saturday mornings.
You ever see those memes, right, with somebody like protesting their signs and everything? I want to do that. It says, "Bring back MySpace."
It's coming. I don't know exactly when, but I mean,
I am down for it, man.
They're just waiting
That
for the
is
right
some-
time to do it, and they're saying that it's not going to be algorithm based. It's going to be, it's going to be if you're going to see what is getting posted in real time, and then if you're not on MySpace at the time, you're not going to see it. They're not going to use the algorithms.
I go back with using all these social medias. I was on MySpace, and then they also have PFG, people from Guam.
That's
That
right,
went
people
out.
from Guam.
Yeah, and that thing
I
went
don't
out.
think that they had they started to charge.
Yeah.
When they started to charge, people left.
Yeah, and then you also have, remember Balatu.com?
No, I don't know Balatu.
You never?
I'm not that cool.
No, they had
Balatu.com.
Yeah, so you have this one guy taking all these pictures, right?
Yeah.
Going around all these clubs and whatnot, and taking all these pictures, and then boom, everybody's like, man, dude, that's so-and-so's girlfriend. You're not, yeah. So
I'm not that cool because I don't remember Balatu.com.
Yeah, and so you had so you had your local, social media, and then you had MySpace.
Yeah.
And I remember when Facebook was all raunchy. I mean, it was like porned out and everything, and I was like, no, that's not even for me. But then Facebook actually cleaned itself up, and it is what it is today. Now it's corporate and everything, but. Yeah, no, that's interesting that MySpace is coming up.
Yes,
I want it to come back.
Me too.
If I was running, that would be my
bring
slogan.
back
MySpace.
MySpace.
Yeah, because everybody's all up on MySpace right now. You need to get back and everything.
Once again, we do want to thank Provisions Wine and Cheese, who brings you good news every
good news.
in the 5 o'clock hour right here on the Bright Side. Again, call them up 671-633-9463. They open up Monday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. and they are right along Challenge Santa Papa.
Yes.
So there you go. See, a good thing we shared it now, right? Because I didn't want to miss that one.
That was a nice news. I happy news, pretty much. But sad thing is, we actually lost our caller. So
it's
caller,
okay.
please call back. I know you want to talk
They
about
probably
the budget.
have a MySpace account, right?
Yeah, he's
too,
probably
so they
checking it
can
out right now.
reminisce.
It's like, what? MySpace? You know?
671-922-1051 or 1052. Something else, right, while we wait for your phone call, is the concern from Senator Vince Borja, right? I heard him on with Patty this morning, so we don't really need to unpack it so much based on the conversation that was had again this morning, where Senator Vince Borja called in and just talked about the concerns of teachers, that some educators are concerned that the special education classrooms, some special education classrooms are going to be utilized by CIFA. There's an MOU that has been signed between GDOE and CIFA to allow CIFA students to utilize their classroom space at GW. And so, I mean, my heart goes out to CIFA and those students and the parents, because here we go again, right? I mean, when I saw the press release coming out that GCC decided not to renew their agreement, and so it was really good news when CIFA partnered with GCC. To be honest with you, it makes sense, because if you look at the board of CIFA's board, almost all of them are GCC instructors. So I was like, oh, that makes a lot of sense. However, I mean, again, they were back to the drawing board looking for a home. So much controversy, and these students don't deserve that. And so that there is some good news with the MOU, right? However, you're not at the expense of displacing others. And I think that's where a lot of the concern is now. The word is that there will be a stakeholders meeting tomorrow, and so we'll get more information at that meeting. Somebody's on the line now?
Yes, he called back.
All right, Hoffaday, Wave 105, you're on the air.
Hey, good afternoon. I was listening to you guys, and I heard She's Fresh. It's exciting. But that's a version I've never heard before.
I think it's a cover.
Yeah, it was rocking. It actually sounded like Ryan Nicholas. I was wondering if he has a new gig.
No. But yeah, I'm just happy MySpace is coming back.
You guys are totally into pop culture. I'm glad you're in a good mood. But it does sound like the legislature was still in session trying to figure out how to pass a budget. And the governor, I guess, schooled them on, what she thinks is the right way to go. She vetoed their budget, wrote a new one, and sent them back to the drawing board. So it does look like Ways and Means Chairman Chris Duenas is not going to get his $1.4 billion budget that he was so proud of.
I'm not sure exactly how much money is in this budget that she has sent back down. She's saying that she doesn't want to roll the BPT back up to 4.5. She's in this budget that she has sent to the legislature. It'll stay at 4%. However, it will budget some of the concerns that she says isn't in the current budget that passed, right? And so I haven't seen her budget, so I don't know the details. Do you have any of that information?
Well, the only thing we have information is that apparently there's more than $80 million in, additional revenue that was unanticipated, and it might be more closer to $100 million. So there's a lot of millions of dollars to go into places that next year are going to need to be funded. So things that got cut can now be refunded. I guess, they can plan for them having funding, because this year's collections for the government of Guam have been excellent. I mean, so to the credit of Governor Lulian Guerrero and her team, they've been able to find money, collect money that they didn't anticipate. So I think they're carrying over those, accomplishments into fiscal year 2023. 27, which is good news for the people of Guam. You know, there are other news. I don't know if it's good. Is there has been recent census data or population data that indicates that in the last 3-4 years since the pandemic, since all that legacy thing you're talking about, remember we had a census that went on right during the pandemic, and I think a lot of us were stunned that it looked like we had lost people, right? The Guamanians appeared to be had been leaving, and our population was 153,000 or 154,000, which shocked me at least because I thought that we were getting closer to a larger number. And so in the last 3-4 years, it looks like the population has started to increase again. And I don't know that it's more Chamorros coming home, more Guamanians coming home. But the latest data just coming out in the last couple of weeks is we now have 172,000 people on the island. Yeah, so that's what Wikipedia is telling us. That's what ChatGPT is, and it's a trend. It's been steady over the last 3 years, which it conforms to what the military command had told us was going to happen. They said that the number of federal personnel, military, active duty, and support was going to increase by about 35,000 over X number of years, and I guess quietly it's already happening. I mean, it looks like we've added about at least 18, if not 20,000 more people, and that's why Donkey Village is so crowded, and Home Depot.
That's interesting. I don't have those numbers, and so...
Yeah, and this is a shock to a lot of folks who are paying attention from an economic standpoint, because when you talk about 150 versus 170 and growing, because it looks like if this continues, then the military's predictions were correct, and we're going to probably have 185,000, if not 200,000 people on island, which would be the new record. In fact, 172,000 actually sounds like the new record. I don't know that Guam's ever had this many people on it, and we might be in danger of tipping over.
Well, it's good news if they're going to be contributing to the workforce, right?
Not just the workforce, but I guess in terms of why we might be able to fund government of Guam operations without relying on raising taxes, right, is because tax revenues are being collected, where in the past maybe there were less people and maybe there were less people paying their taxes. Hopefully, I think Senator Taitigui has pointed out, we might be able to tax our federal contractors more because they honestly are not likely to contribute to the community in any other way. They don't even live here. So why should they be allowed to participate in this business without paying a premium? They're the definition of carpetbaggers. I'm talking about these big military contractors making multi-million dollars. Instead of taxing the people of Guam, particularly the poor people of Guam, for food and medicine, we should get rid of that tax, let people have a chance to breathe, and tax the heck out of people that are coming here, really just to take advantage of this one-time opportunity maybe. But, again, that's above my pay grade, but maybe not above yours, because you guys have been paying attention to this very carefully.
Well,
and apparently people are listening to you. I think you guys one single-handedly got Josh Tenorio kicked out of Adaloop, and now he needs a new job. Maybe he needs a new show on the Wave.
Oh, that would be interesting.
I'm not taking credit for that.
Oh, yeah.
Not at all.
Well, Tortoris is, but I think more people listen to you guys in the afternoon.
Well, what do you think?
We're the only show.
Yeah.
We're the
By
only
default,
show
we're
right
number
now.
one.
Yeah. Let's look at the dial, Pauly. Music.
You're the only show in town,
Pauly
buddy.
and Ryan. Music.
Well, what do you think? Because I know that there was talk about putting a reprieve on taxes on food and medicine. I believe it's Senator
Jesse was trying to do that, especially with
So did Mark Forbes. So did a lot of people. It's all talk. They don't seem to be able to accomplish anything, and they keep getting elected, right? I mean, I got nothing against Jesse. It's just, come on, you can't take credit for something you didn't do. And if you're telling me that you tried and you failed, then I don't think we should vote for you. So, this is on the Republican majority right now. They've had plenty of opportunity to do good things, and the best they could do was piss off Governor Liu, which maybe they think that's an accomplishment. But, Therese Terlai is probably going to ride all this ineptitude into Adelup is my thinking. I mean, right now I'm sitting here thinking Therese Terlahi must be a magician. Some people have called her other things that rhyme with bitch. But I think the thing is that she has some magical power that allows her to win a very, very difficult Democratic primary with no money.
Well, you got to look at it.
Maybe because she's relating to the common person.
That's right.
You know,
There's
you
a
got.
lot
So I
more
don't
common
think it's.
people.
I don't
Listen,
think it's
there's-
magic. I think she's trying to solve issues for the common person.
And then when you
Well,
go, I don't know if you've been to the polls, if you voted this weekend or you early vote, but from what I saw, right, was, there was no unity. Each gubernatorial from the Democrats had their own hospitality tent. I only saw Vice Speaker Tony Atta and Speaker, their supporters.
They were
coming
under
together.
one tent.
They were under one tent. Most, and so when I looked over to Senator Therese and Senator Sabina's tent, they had like probably one or two, maybe even four at the most.
But I don't even want to. I don't want to gauge who was under the hospitality tent because who were the undecided or who were going in to vote? They weren't going to the hospitality tent.
No.
They were going to vote and they were leaving.
No, but to my point was there was no flash in her campaign, and there was, you had people, they were modest high.
The only people that were going to the hospitality tent were the supporters and the candidates.
Yeah. But
people were driving to vote and just driving back out.
So it goes back to what Dr. Akimoto said. It must be some magic or something because, even that, because you got to look at when she jumped in the campaign to run for governor. Look at that time frame.
Like 2 months ago.
Yeah. And
well,
now
on the
she's
record,
leading.
she says that it was the people that asked her to run.
I
and
think-
look how
no.
fast she got the signatures.
I think she resonated with the voters that would have voted for Jeff and Charlie. That's my thinking, and that's the silent vote that I'm talking about, right?
I think it's more sinister than that, right? Let's face it. Josh had a lot of people show up to the caravans. They had a lot of people there at the short bus rally. They had a lot of people showing up, but when they went into the ballots, they voted for Therese because those grassroots people you're talking about are called limited term employees. A lot of the people that were being, let's just face it, they were being coerced into supporting Josh in face-to-face, and they put stickers on their car. When they go inside the voting booth, because, you're saying that a lot of the undecided people showed up. I'm thinking they didn't because we had terrible voter turnout. We had
but
this
we
is the
don't.
lowest ever.
We have.
I'm sorry.
There are only. The government employees are like what 11,000.
I think they voted for Therese, and especially the ones that are being, I guess, put down. That they're being told they have to do something. I mean, if I'm being told I have to show up on a Sunday for a rally that I don't really believe in, I'm not voting for you. I mean, I might show up because I'm not dumb, but I'm going to vote for whoever I think. And I mean, again, where did Therese get her voters from? It wasn't from Jeff and Charlie, because those guys, it didn't look like, based on the percentage of people showing up, that we got the undecideds to show up. We did not get the block grant families to show up. We didn't get. I don't know if the SPED community showed up en masse, but majority of the people voting this weekend were GovGuam employees. They were voting for their lives. They were voting for their jobs, for the future, and they didn't think Josh was going to win.
Yeah, but on that same note, they would have voted for Josh for exactly what you're talking about, surviving and keeping their
Not
jobs.
if he was going to lose. I mean, why would you waste your vote on somebody you know is going to lose? He's damaged goods.
After that debacle about, I see your point. I see after that whole
the
bus
fact that we
joke
only
thing.
had 39% of the voting population vote. I mean, if we have more, clearly it can be swayed any one way. But because it was so low, that's what you got. I mean, it was Senator Therese got 10 villages and Josh got 9. And so, if 1,000 more people came, it could have either been more for Therese or Josh would have won. But
correct me if I'm wrong. Teresa's win, given the fact that she had so little, it was a landslide. It wasn't close.
No, it was very close. 400 some.
Yeah, about 500.
Under 500 votes. It was still close. She didn't win 50% plus one.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Okay, but given the fact that she ran for like 2.5 months, probably spent about $500, and again,
she spent more than that. I know, because she spent more than that here on Wave.
And you got to think. I mean, you got to. You got to. Yeah, you got to.
I mean, I'm just being realistic here.
You have to equate, right, the actual, the actual amount of voters, right?
But yeah, you're right, though. I mean, look at how much what was the numbers? I think the PDN put it, right? $800,000 for Josh?
Yeah.
And so Teresa's not even close.
Holy cow.
Not even close.
Yeah.
He spent $800,000 just for the primary.
Just for the
How much was
primary.
he going to spend if he went to the general?
Yeah. So you know how you do it. This is how you equate the price, right? You go to the Guam Elections Commission and see how much he spent on the primary, and then you times that, or you do the math and go it against put it against the amount of voters that came out, and break it down, and it'll probably be like $15 per vote, for the X amount of people that voted for her, right, on what she spent. And that will kind of give you a clear picture of how much she actually put in on the primary, for her messaging.
You mean you're talking about Teresa or Josh?
For Therese and Josh too as well, right?
Yeah.
How much they actually spent on the primary.
I mean, this is definitely an election that a lot of people are going to need to study, because a lot of very interesting things happened in just the last 2-3 weeks and 2-3 months. I don't think Ron McNinch was right. I mean, he was predicting Josh to win even like 3 or 4 days prior to the thing, because he said that the SPED thing, the short bus, I don't know if you guys interviewed him on the air, but he said that the short bus thing didn't affect Josh. It didn't affect him immediately after.
Yeah, I think he said
the 2 or 3 days.
I think he said those who are going to vote for Josh are going to vote for Josh. Those that were going to vote for Therese and Joe, they're going to vote for them. Now it's because when you look at Frank and Tony, right? There's like about almost close to 2,000 difference, right, between Frank and Tony.
He correctly predicted that one.
Mm-hmm.
We thought it was going to be a lot closer because it looked like they were 50-50. In fact, I think the Frank Blas Jr. camp, they stopped running like 2 days before. They thought they had it in the bag. There was a lot of overconfidence, I think, on that side, unfortunately. But again, it is what it is. You run the best campaign you can. It was clean. One thing about this campaign, you didn't see a lot of mud slinging, except for the short bus thing, which I don't think was real. I mean, again, it was it was dirty. It was, but it was true. I mean, what was great about it was a great education.
It was Josh's campaign that put that out. That was from their story. They captured Joe Meno saying that.
Yeah.
They pushed that out. And so that was it was a boo-boo. That was
his own goal.
An oversight on the social media team that posted that. And then people saw that and saw that's absolutely horrendous.
Yeah.
And I think even their campaign said, oh my gosh, what happened? And they immediately apologized.
Damage control.
Well, but that had been going on for weeks. Everybody said, hey, he says that every time, right? So it was a running joke that was never funny. And their own people never realized.
I have heard the same statement. Thank you, sir, because people are starting to say that, wait a minute, Mr. Meno has been saying that same statement throughout the campaign.
It was part of his show.
And people were laughing.
But I
That
can't.
camp had been
But
laughing
I never heard it until I heard it myself on their social media account. And so only. It's hearsay because I did not hear Mr. Meno only that one time. But there are others, including yourself now on this show, that said, no, Mr. Meno said that before.
Yeah, and we've been hearing it from people. So just to summarize, I mean, this is just the primary. This is how we do elections on Guam. It's Guam spectator sport. It matters to healthcare. It matters to the Guam Memorial Hospital. It matters to how we deliver public health care when there's a pandemic. Leadership matters. I think the people of Guam are rightfully engaged and concerned. So it's going to be interesting because I think for a little while we thought Guam politics was starting to get a little boring. Now it ain't boring anymore.
I don't want to feed into that kind of energy, though. I mean, Senator Therese, like you said, she won fairly, and so I want to give her that credit. And so We move forward. This is the candidate, Senator Therese Terlaye and Senator Perez, running, as well as Vice Speaker Tony Ada and E.J. Calvo. And now let's just move forward and base it off their merits. I don't want to have these kinds of conversations.
Like the reason why he
who
lost.
Who was dirty and whatnot.
But it's all about alliances,
I don't
right?
feel comfortable.
Just to end the conversation and maybe a prelude to a future one is now people have to decide what camp they're going to be under, given the results of this primary election. And you could see that the Republicans had already declared that they would be under 110, and I think they're going to do that. But then you see that Josh Tenorio's team and Tina Munoz Barnes, they more than likely are not going to either go over to.
They already did, though. They already did.
Yeah, I actually saw
something. He put a paid ad saying, "Let's unite the Democrat Party." Yeah. It was Josh and Tina did that.
And good for them. Because that's
I
what they
actually
need
saw
to do,
something
right?
on social media where it says, "Let's go." Therese and Sabina,
and it was a picture of all six of them.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, it seems like the Democratic Party is coming together. So
excellent.
Yeah. So, again, I don't know how that's going to play out because we already know that, the independent voters are needed for Republicans to advance to Adelup, likewise with, disenfranchised Democrats. And so if the party is all coming together.
What you're saying is true and the Democrats stay together, it doesn't look like the Republicans have enough people voting on their side to win a gubernatorial election.
There are more registered Democrats than there are Republican, but history will tell you that doesn't always come out like that.
I mean, you had 16 years of Eddie and Felix.
And that could also be it. People are just tired, and they want to see a different type of leadership.
Mm-hmm.
Less than 8,000 people voted for both, Frank Blas Jr. and Tony Ada, that team. Less than 8,000. 9,000 people voted for Chris Malfunction by himself. I think 9,000 voted for the Congresswoman on the Democrat side. So you already have more people in this primary voting on the Democrat side for singular candidates. I mean, the gubernatorial candidate, Therese Terlaye, I mean, if she gets all the Democrats under her camp, it's going to be tough to beat.
True. Yeah.
So we might have a new governor in January.
Well, we clearly will have a new governor.
Yeah.
Right? It's going to be Tony or it's going to be Therese.
How much you want to bet there's going to be a new governor in Adelup? I'll take anybody to dinner for that.
Yeah. Well, let's face it. It's a big difference between Therese Terlaye and Sabina Perez in charge of Adelup and the economy of Guam and our relationship with the military as well as the federal government versus Tony Ada and E.J. Calvo, who I would say would be a continuation of the way the Republicans have been going. They're not that much different from Eddie Calvo, Felix Camacho. There's a lineage there and a style of leadership that I think people of Guam are familiar with. They know what they're getting. But Therese, she's different. She represents a different kind of vision for Guam.
And well, on the lineage part, I mean, look how good the economy was with Eddie Calvo, with tourism up and everything. Of course, pre-COVID, but we were hitting like 1.23 million tourists a year. So maybe sometimes it's actually good to go back. Versus, I mean, you go with the devil
let
right?
him be the president of GVB, and let's see if he can fix it.
Yeah, you go with the devil rather than the devil that you don't, right? And so, and that's where Therese has to really hit the nail on the head with her messaging. Like, look, you've seen the politics of the past, and she's already coming out with that. No more of this, no more of that. Forget. I mean, I saw something today about doing away with the Pauly system. And I'm like, okay, I'm here. I'm seeing this. I'm looking at it, and I'm like, okay, she's now pivoting now. You're right. So it's no more.
It'll be fun.
It is going to be fun. Very fun. I mean, it's something to watch out for. Which reminds me, is there any debates coming from the medical society?
Yes, we'll send you the information. October. It's already been confirmed. Although the confirmation is the venue. It'll be the Hyatt. I'll get you the dates. Dr. Shea has already confirmed that Tony Ada and E.J. Calvo will participate. we are waiting on Teresa Lai to confirm.
Yeah, just so you know, Pauly's also doing the MC thing. Like, he's always available.
No.
I'm just putting it out there. I'm
No,
teasing
you guys have done an exceptional job of moderating. You don't.
Oh, come on. I'm trying to blow you up, man.
Kai Akimoto would be a great moderator.
All right.
There
Hey,
you
guys,
go.
thanks for letting me vent.
All right.
We appreciate you.
All right.
All
You be
right.
safe. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Sorry, man.
Stop volunteering me.
I'm not volunteering. I'm just opening the idea that, hey, if you're looking for somebody that does this stuff, Pauly's available.
I'll just
Viva
say
Pauly.
I can never say no to Senor Robert Celestial.
Yeah. But hey,
That's the least I could do for that man.
Well, the only reason why I'm saying I'm
least.
I'm kind of like promoting your services here is because if you do that, then hey, I'm going to go in under the guise of I know Pauly and I want to watch the debate. I'm sorry,
The
bro.
forums that I've watched, whether from other news outlets, I've been, I have no complaints.
Mhm.
I'm very happy that a number of organizations are putting together.
And I hope it's a
these
debate.
debates.
I'm because we've
Yes.
seen forums. We
Compare
haven't had, We haven't had a
side
debate.
by side.
Yeah, I mean it was a forum on how would you guys do this? No. I want boom right there. This is what you did. This is what I mean, you got to really make this election exciting at the same time be educational, right? I mean, because
ultimately, again, Vince is correct. They have two different philosophies. They're not, the way they lead is different.
Yeah.
And so we want to see, what does that look like? What does an administration run by Governor Teresa Lai and Lieutenant Governor Sabina Perez look like compared to what does Governor Tony Atta and Lieutenant Governor E.J. Calvo look like?
Yeah.
And so the more pointed the responses are, the better. People will have a better understanding. Because what sometimes happens is there's just a general response. And a general response can only do so much. How exactly do you plan to govern GPD? What does that look like? How exactly do you plan to govern DOA? What does the makeup look like?
Yeah. What does a Governor Teresa Lahi and a Governor Tony Atta have plans in terms of GMH? And we already saw, earlier in the show we were talking about what he wants to do as far as fixing the current the hospital so that we don't have to focus on building a new hospital. Let's just fix the one we have now with all the problems. And then come later because that comes with a big price tag that we don't even have the money for.
Sure.
So so now so that tells me that Vice Speaker Tony's already proactive in what he sets out to do. By one, he's still a senator. I'm going to introduce bills so that if in turn I do get elected, whoever's the governor is going to have a working model right now for GMH, which is good. Very good approach.
Well, yeah,
like
I
it.
mean, and Speaker Frank, he's no longer in the running, but I
Yeah.
always appreciated, and he did back it up, the conversations that I would have with Speaker Frank.
Yeah.
When I asked him, your slogan is ready on day one.
Mhm.
Help me understand, what does that look like?
Yeah.
And he was giving very good examples as to how he planned to govern on day one.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's a good example of somebody that can give you detailed responses. Speaker Frank is no longer in the running.
Yeah.
5:53 in the afternoon.
Yes, let's
we
do
got to take the break.
our
Yeah.
last look at traffic because I know people are out on the roads listening to me endorse Pauly for his services. I'm sorry. Pauly's number one. Viva Pauly. All right. 5:52 in the afternoon. That means we're taking a last look at traffic, helping you move forward along with Guam Auto Spot. Standing by Mr. Pauly Suba, MC extraordinaire. Buenas, Pauly.
I'm good. I want to break out the Glimpses Media Traffic app, right? 5:54 in the afternoon. Things are picking up. We know this already. It's going to be heavily congested. Route 8. I don't think things are going to slow down until a little bit after 7-ish, right? We'll be long gone. I'll be on the roads by the time things clear up for you on 8. Obviously, these are around the major intersections, right? Route 1 is even more congested, especially as you get closer to the ITC intersection. Routes 1 and 4 in the capital. Just mild delays at those intersections. And then whether you take 8 or 1, just expect things to slow down as you get closer to some of those traffic lights, right? There are just multiple traffic lights throughout Route 1. Everything I'm telling you right now is not a surprise at all. Down in Tumon, trying to get out of Tumon and get onto 1, expect those delays too. Route 16 as well. Making that left turn on 1 to get onto 16. Maybe an engineer from DPW has to go over there and readjust the timing, because the word was that only about 3 cars could make a left turn from 16 to 1, and hopefully they fix that if they haven't already. Once again, helping you move forward on this Tuesday afternoon, it's Guam Auto Spot. Call them up, 478 Auto. View their inventory on GuamAutospot.com.
As Guam recovers from super tight, GTA is here to help you stay connected and keep you moving. For a limited time, get $400 off any new premium smartphone with eligible plans. Or bring your own phone to GTA and receive up to $300 in account credits. To support your recovery, you'll also receive a free $100 76 fuel gas card. Terms and conditions apply. Visit any GTA retail store today. GTA, we start with you.
Need a truck that works as hard as you do? Then head to Triple J Ford's Big Deals on Big Wheels sales event. For a limited time, score prices below dealer cost and drive home America's best-selling truck for 49 years. The legendary Ford F-150 starting at just $39,995. Choose from the rugged XL, stylish STX, or well-equipped XLT. All backed by the strength, capability, and innovation only Ford delivers. But don't wait. All stock must go. Visit Triple J Ford in Upper Tumon or get pre-approved and shop online at triplejguam.com. Triple J Ford, customers first.
At Bank of Hawaii, we want to help make the goals you're saving for possible. Great rates are possible because you'll earn up to 5 times the national average on savings when you make a qualifying deposit of $25,000 from another bank. And flexibility is possible because you can access your savings anytime and still earn one of our highest rates.
Anything's possible.
Open a Bank Ohana savings special today and reach your possible. Rates based on the FDIC's national deposit rates. Terms and conditions apply. Visit BOH.com/savings special.
Half a day. I'm Callan Perez and I'm running for senator. Service to our island has shaped my life, from community advocacy and substance abuse recovery to supporting sustainable agriculture. Inspired by my parents, Dr. Perez and Dr. Erickson, I remain committed to serving the people of Guam. I'm Callan Perez and I approve this message.
Ever dreamed of being on the radio? Now's your chance. Glimpses of Guam is looking for the next generation of on-air personalities to join our family on Wave 105. If you've got personality, creativity, and a passion for entertaining, we want to hear from you. No matter your experience level, this could be your opportunity to be heard across the airwaves. Send your resume and a short demo to jobs@glimpsesofguam.com and start your broadcasting journey today. Join the Glimpses of Guam radio team. Your voice belongs on the air on Wave 105.
3 minutes before 6 o'clock. That's right, it's a countdown. But before we leave, I got to pick this gentleman up right now. Mr. Pauly Suba, buenas.
All right, the weekly regional weather outlook was posted this afternoon, so we'll leave you with this before we get out of here. Scattered showers, isolated thunderstorms found across Guam and the CNMI today, with moderate to strong westerly set to continue for the rest of the week. So,
ouch.
Expect combined seas of 8 to 11 feet and surf of 7 to 10 feet along all except south-facing reefs and beaches through the week.
So we're having wet weather for the whole week.
For practically the remainder of the week.
I like it. It's cool and everything,
Yeah.
and it's something that, we've been really needing, water. My grass was turning brown already.
Yeah.
But it's good. I'm okay with it. Yeah.
And then there's a wind advisory expected to last until 6 a.m. Wednesday, right? And then there's a high surf advisory as well that is expected to last until 4 p.m. Saturday.
Okay.
So that's, again, from the National Weather Service. Oh, and just to correct some of the monies raised. Again, I pulled up the PDN article, $869,197.70 raised by Josh and Tina.
Okay.
However, they've spent about half of that, 400, almost 4.
Okay.
Almost 50%. So they've raised 472,000 or spent $472,316.59.
Okay,
$472,316.59. That's how much the Tenorio
and what was their total vote count?
I don't think I can get that to you in time.
I think it's about 6,000 something, right? Yeah. Let me see. I think I have it here. Yeah. I mean, unofficial results. Yeah. I'm just trying to see for dollar, how much did they spend to get to the numbers that they got? So let me see. Man, I thought I had it. Okay, wait.
Yeah. I'm going on the Guam Election Commission's website to look at the
unofficial
primary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what I'm going to do is take that amount that you gave me and divide it by how many people that came out to vote for them.
Right. Okay. I don't. Registered voters 57,406. Total ballots cast 22,852.
Mm-hmm.
Where is the Democrats? Oh, the Republicans are first. Tenorio 5,927.
Divided by 5,000.
927.
So if you take into that account, it's like $79 per vote. So that was pretty much it. What was the amount that Senator Talahi raised and spent? Well, not
yet
spent,
to
actually.
file organizational reports with GC needed
Okay.
to start funding. As of Friday morning, 2 other teams, Therese Terlai, Sabina Perez, and independent businessmen Jeff Pleadwell and Charlie had yet to file organizational reports with the GC.
Okay. So at least it's like $80 pretty much per vote.
This is May 4, 2026.
Yeah.
Though. That's a
They
story
raised
that I
up
was able to pull.
$800,000. They spent about half of that, and it equates to the 5,927 people that came out to vote. $80.
I mean, they might have spent more. I mean, that was as of May, right?
Yeah.
So the Tenorio Munoz Barnes might have spent more by then.
Yeah.
By now.
Yeah.
All right, we got to get out of here.
Yes.
Mornings with Patty, rolling with dice. Tomorrow from 6 to 10. Wednesday, very stacked vet talk from 10 to 12 with Uncle Johnny and his Admiral, Auntie Bobby.
Of course.
I'm sure Charlie will make an appearance. Ryan and I will be back for another BrightSide, and then also Oden Finu tomorrow, presented by the UOG Tomorrow Studies Program with Senor Ron Laguana. All tomorrow. I hope you join us. Everybody get home safe. Be kind to each other, especially on those roads. Adios. KGUM FM in Dededo, Guam.